Shout out to the botters. Welcome to a celebratory Monster Hunter Dose stream. Did Amy answer my question? I feel like I've asked this a million times. What are we waiting for? Just joined. We're about to start the video. Basically, if you don't know, for context. Pikmin Jacob, Monster Hunter content creator on YouTube, made a notorious, you know, every Monster Hunter content creator has to have one notorious video. I have two, but you have to have at least one. Jacob's is about Monster Hunter Dose, about how it was the last true Monster Hunter game.
Nice.
I don't know why I didn't see that, but thank you, Poke. The alert went off, but it's not here. Where is it? Weird. That's not true. Not every Super Red video, but a lot of them fairly notorious. Thank you for the hype train. Appreciate it. Is this gonna be a meme or like tilt me? I'm going into it with an open mind. Jacob's a cool person, so, but he did get a lot of flack for this video. He got a lot of flack for this video, so we're gonna watch it and see. It's 3.5 hours, so I don't know if we're gonna get through all of it today because I only stream for about 3 hours. So I think what's gonna happen is we're gonna watch the first half today. We're gonna see how far we can get today, and then my next stream's on Monday. So we'll watch the rest of it on Monday and then maybe play some Dose, because by then the patch will be out. It's 3.5 hours, bro. I sent the answer twice, but chat keeps going, so scroll up, super nerd. Okay, the Break Arts team, aka the translation team, are setting up a website where you can download it. Thank you. Thank you. They don't have the website up yet? What a time for my end to be buffering, like holy shit. Yeah, Zerder, that's crazy. That's crazy, Zerder. That's crazy. Can I get that's crazy, Zerder, in chat? That's the new thing whenever Zerder says something. That's crazy, Zerder. That's nuts. This is like the Redfall of Monster Hunter videos. I can't believe. I saw an article today. It was like, yo, the pressure's on Starfield because of Redfall. Like, why would that be the case? Why would a Bethesda game be on, like, why is that like the next target after Redfall sucked ass? That's crazy, Zerder. That's crazy. Especially considering how Freedom Unit is basically the catalyst of Monster Hunter being such a GOAT franchise. I agree. Hey, Taka. Honestly, I hate the echo chamber and enablers this video spawned on Twitter. What do you mean? Explain this to me, please. Arcane games are published by Bethesda, I guess. Oh, is that true? I guess it is true, yeah. I think that makes sense. Freedom Unit is what we Americans measure things in. True. Starfield looks mid. Listen, I'm gonna blow your guys' mind as an Oblivion fan, like a huge Oblivion fan, huge Fallout New Vegas fan. Every Bethesda game is mid as fuck. But there's enough in it that it's just an enjoyable experience. It's mid, but like it's a good mid, if that makes sense. So I'm pretty sure Starfield's gonna be good mid. It's gonna be good mid. And that's all you can really ask from them. Skyrim, bad mid. Oblivion, good mid. New Vegas, great mid, but that's Obsidian, so. This is a banger. This is the Dose OST. This is the Dose OST. What is this? This is the opening theme. Yo, the length of the opening theme is 4 minutes and 20 seconds. That's crazy. I like Skyrim enough too. My favorite part of Skyrim is modding it to look really pretty and then never playing it. I love doing that. The best Bethesda game is still Dishonored 1. Dishonored 1's still better than Dishonored 2 in my opinion. I can't even play Dishonored 2. Can you play some Trails of the Sky OST? I have to beat the game first. I don't want to be spoiled by the OST. This is a pretty banger OST. Oh, it's hitting that part. You know, there's like something's going wrong right now, you know? Kushala's showing up. Everyone's about to get their ass kicked. Wait. Oh, we got the choir. Or the diva. They're called diva. Thanks, Rosal.
Keep doing great, Rad.
Did it? Arcane had a Half-Lane game? Really? Kushala Dose is the worst nightmare. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to fighting Kushala Dose if we ever have to do that. 20s? Yeah, Prey was one of the best Arcane games. I think I love Dishonored, but I could tell Prey was just like And I haven't finished it yet, but I could tell it was just such a good game. I should watch that. All right, I'm gonna turn the music down. You guys ready for this? All right, music's off. So Pikmin made this video. Jacob made this video. What was the echo chamber? Did Taka ever explain that? Oh, what I mean is that this spawned people like Ramika and Crablord who go nuts over not being able to mess around with each other because of shock absorber. What? Who are those people? What is shock absorber? Is that in the video? Shock absorber skill effects. It's in Rise. Shock absorber is a skill in Monster Hunter Rise. Is a new skill added. Oh, this is the better flinch free. This is the better flinch free. Yeah. Wait, they complain that it's in? Yeah, I'm confused. They complain that it's in. Everyone hates tripping in this game. See, Izzy. Called it removing player interactions. Suck my dick. Nobody likes getting tripped. Like, nobody enjoyed that mechanic in the game. As much as, like, as someone that likes gathering, likes limited items, you know, likes like the nuance of the old school games, no one liked being tripped. Like, it was such a bad mechanic that's still in the game. It's such a bad mechanic that people that chose certain weapons, longsword or charge blade, got actively bullied for using those weapons because the mechanic was so annoying that it pissed people off. I mean, maybe. We're going to see in the video, right? How'd we go up to 50? Oh, thanks, Beyond. I played Gunlance and got bullied. I mean, yeah, that's the blast or whatever, the artillery. Found out today how broken spamming Arcshot in Iceborne is. Even if it's an MR game, I managed to do a Black Veil Valhazak run without getting hit. Nice. Nice. And Shock Absorber still allows the good player interaction of not... Yeah, Shock Absorber is... So, like, everybody complained about the fact that it's like, we don't want to... Like, first it was like, we don't want to use flinch free because we don't want to slot it in. Because it was a 3-slot item, right? It was a level 3 gem in World. And then it was like a level 1 gem in Rise. And they still didn't want to use it because they were like, oh, well, like, what if I get stunned? My friend can't knock me out of stun. So, like, that's stupid. And then it was like, okay, well, here, this allows you to still knock them out of stun, even though your weapon won't hit them, right? And then they're like, oh, well, that's removing player interaction. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. You're stupid. Stop complaining on Twitter about good additions to the game. Complain about the bad additions to the game, or the things they actually removed. Loser mentality, loser behavior. They need to bring back the select kick. I think it's the plus kick on the Wii controller. I actually think you could just remove flinching, like only have monsters do shit like that. I don't think people need to flinch people. Do you have the donation thing for the weapon you'll do in dose? Yeah, it's greatsword. We're doing greatsword. Anyway, check this out. We're here. So I'm gonna fuck with the volume real quick. I don't want it to be too loud. You've curated a healthy and vast economical audience, Mr. Gardner. Please don't call me by my last name in my Twitch chat, you dipshit. Jesus Christ. Another thing you'll say. Okay, hit me with a Taka. Hit me with the hot takes. Thank you for the level 2 hype train, guys. One objective thing I can... Wait, oh, I'm losing it. Hey, Dark Hero. One objective thing I can think anyone can say, the intro for the vid is kind of cringe. That's someone said that's like the first half hour, so we'll see. I'll call you your first name. Everybody knows my first name. Calling someone their first name isn't that bad. They can kick us all they want. They can't nerf our spirits or our shields. They hate Risen solely because you can knock them out of Risen state. I haven't fought a Risen Elder Dragon yet, so I don't really have an opinion on that. I think knocking them out of the state sounds fine. Depends how they made it. Weird. Your name isn't... It's John Elden Ring Capcom. My last... you can't say that. That's Crunchy's last name, bro. You can't just throw that out there. I'm doxing Crunchy Brown right now. My Leroy's sick, and he's in Tekken 8. All right, hold on. Let's see how loud this is. Hold on. Oh, wait, I have to click it. Hold on. Hold on.
Oh, it's running away.
Get back over here. God,
Can you guys hear that? Is that good?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Dude, imagine if they added PvP to Monster Hunter. That would be so cool.
Is that too loud?
Yeah, they already did actually. It was in DOS. You would raise
DOS?
the captured monster.
There's no way he did. I'm already mad. I'm already mad. Oh my god. I didn't know they made that, Jacob. I didn't know they put it on DOS.
Monster and put it in an arena against another monster.
Wait, so why didn't they bring it back?
Dude, I don't know. DOS.
Is that good? Can you guys hear me while they're talking?
Man, DOS is sounding a lot better than newer games. So, like, was it the best in the series?
2 isn't the best in the series.
I thought you said it was your favorite.
No, Try is my favorite. I think you got me confused.
Good opinion. Good opinion. We have to tally of bad opinions versus good opinions. Someone keep track. I'm not going to keep track. But that's a good opinion. Try's his favorite. So this is already a better video. I don't know what, like, I thought this video started with the quote. I thought it started with the quote, Monster Hunter DOS is the best Monster Hunter game of all time or something like that. I was pretty sure. But apparently not. So already Try is the favorite. I appreciate that, Jacob. It's actually 3 Ultimate, but Try is close enough, right? We'll allow that. Try is top 3 and Ultimate is number 2. Wow. Calling DOS's fucking monsters arena thingy PvP is pretty cringe, though. It is PvP, isn't it? It's player versus player. It's a competitive environment. You're not hunting each other, but like it is PvP. Video super rad approved.
On a purely nostalgia level, Monster Hunter Try is my favorite in the franchise. But if I were
is him talking loud enough for you guys? Like, is that loud enough? No, I can't tell if you're being serious. I'll turn it up a bit.
Judge them based on which one I enjoy the most, I guess it would be 4? In a lot of ways, Monster Hunter 4 is the best game in the series, I believe.
What? He said it twice, but like the first person's like, oh, so DOS is the best, right? And he's like, no, it's Try. Try's my favorite. And he's like, but 4 Ultimate's the best. I can't even like disagree with any of that. I just found that funny. Like 4 Ultimate is like probably like overall one of the best games in the series. I still say 3 Ultimate. That's a favoritism thing, but I agree. Like 4, I can agree with that. 4 Ultimate, one of like the best, you know?
I believe. Monster Hunter 2 DOS is just the best.
You can't. He doesn't say it. He doesn't say it like that the entire time. There's no way. There's no way, Jacob. Please. Can I get a DOS count, please? I need a base count, a cringe count, and a DOS count. We're at 2 DOSes. We're at 1 based opinion. We'll give them 2 based opinions for you.
Monster Hunter.
Nothing cringe yet. There hasn't been anything cringe.
Game.
So, is it 4 or is it 2? Which one's the best?
Who's he talking to? Why did he just ask that? Wait.
I believe. Monster Hunter 2 DOS is just the best Monster Hunter game.
Wait.
I guess it would be 4, guys, but if I were to judge them based on which one I enjoy the most, I guess it would be 4?
Okay. He enjoys 4 the most. Try is his favorite, but he enjoys 4 the most. I assume he means 4 Ultimate. I'm going to assume he means 4 Ultimate.
A lot of ways, Monster 4 is the best game in the series. I
So 4 is the best game in the series.
believe. Monster 2 DOS is just the best Monster Hunter game.
What?
So, is it 4 or is it 2? Which one's the best?
Monster 4 is the best game, but Monster 2 is the best Monster Hunter game. Monster Hunter 2 DOS is like the last true Monster Hunter game.
Oh, he said it! He said the thing. What did I use that in? I think I used it in the Monster Hunter I video. Oh, I'm trying to put the logic behind that, because like I get what he's going for. I get what he's going for. Like, if we were talking about being true to Monster Hunter as it was like originally designed, I guess DOS would be like the best pure Monster Hunter, you know? Like it's the most pure vision of what Monster Hunter originally was. I assume that's what he's going for. However, Monster Hunter DOS. Monster Hunter 4 is just like the more enjoyable and like better overall gaming experience. Just it's not as true to, it's kind of like how I was like, you know, Monster Hunter World isn't exactly a Monster Hunter game. I've said the same thing, so I get it. I get where he's going with that.
Everything made after it has just been it's been like a glorified repeat of Monster Hunter Portable.
Taka, I don't even remember who you mentioned, so don't worry about it. I don't know who they're.
Dude, what the f are you talking about?
That's literally been the last 10 minutes, man. That's so funny. That's so funny, dude.
I don't know.
Fair enough, man. You know what? Fair enough. Self-aware intro. I get it.
Monster Hunter is a product. It was created to make money. Monster Hunter is also a video game, and video games are art.
Yep. That's the Try song. Why are you playing that in Try? Oh, it's laggy. Okay.
Special kind of art that allows an individual to interact and connect
We
with
live in a
the
society.
art piece directly, to become one with it in a way.
I'm using the wrong...
A video game is also simply just a game. It's a self-contained world with its own rules.
I'm using the wrong thing.
A place
Hold on.
separate from
I just
reality,
realized
with
that.
the individual, the player, can be both challenged and entertained.
Oh, no, he was doing that. That's my bad. Wait, did he use
The
my
individual
fucking...
can partake.
Hey! This shit... That's the super rad staple right there, man. They're stealing my steez. They're stealing my steez, man. I can't believe this. That's fucked up. Look at that.
In this game with friends, and together they can
I'm not actually making a claim to that. I don't want someone to clip me and then be mad at me about it.
experience this art together. Monster Hunter is art, a game, and also a product.
Yeah, I'm gonna
In order
claim
for
the
this
vid.
product to
Sorry,
sell,
Jacob.
sacrifices may be made to the art. The game must be updated if it is status quo among competitors, to surpass the competitors. Bottom line, Monster Hunter needs to
The
sell.
GOAT.
Now, I have a strange analogy that it'll go on for a bit here because I have a lot that I wrote here, but it'll make sense. Imagine Capcom didn't make video games and instead they made, I don't know, ice cream.
What is...
Makes sense. Imagine Capcom.
Thank you for the follow, Mason. Who made this picture? Dragon's Dogma, Capcom, or Resident Evil, Street Fighter, Devil May Cry, Phoenix Wright, Mega Man, Monster Hunter. Okay.
Capcom didn't make video games and instead they made, I don't know, ice cream. This analogy does go somewhere, I promise. Just imagine for a minute that their games were ice cream instead of video games. In this analogy, Capcom is known for their chocolate ice cream. Their chocolate ice cream is popular and sells well. It's always sold well. They have different variations of this chocolate ice cream, and every variation has seemed to have at least some success. In 2004, Capcom experimented and released a mint chocolate chip ice cream. It had a unique mint taste that left consumers with a mixed reception. However, the chocolate chips used in the recipe was still the classic Capcom chocolate that was already immensely popular.
Oh man, I'm sure this is going somewhere, and it's fine. This is nothing. This isn't about Jacob, but I hate long-winded analogies sometimes, and it's a valid thing to do. I don't like them, and it really reminds me of that one fucking God, what's his name? I mentioned him in my Dark Souls video. I can't remember his name, but he made a huge fucking analogy about like Pepsi or something. I can't remember exactly what it was. No, it was fucking Prego pasta sauce. It was like the exact same analogy about Prego pasta sauce or something like that. And like, I mean, it's not the exact same analogy, but it was such an obtuse analogy that made no fucking sense. And I couldn't fucking take it. It was so bad.
Ultimately, this new ice cream flavor had success.
I need to hear this.
But it was nothing compared to their older chocolate flavors.
No shade to Ratatouille, but I fucking hated that analogy. I couldn't handle it.
In 2005, a team led by Ichinose-san created a variant of this mint chocolate ice cream as a treat that can be consumed individually on the go. This version of the treat did better sales-wise compared to the tub of the mint chocolate ice cream. In 2006, Capcom revised their mint chocolate ice cream flavor. They decided to try and improve the mint taste. However, Ichinose's variant was still doing better in sales. In 2007, Ichinose's team decided to add more chocolate to their frozen treat. And what do you know, sales began to skyrocket. In 2009, Capcom decided it would be best practice to update the ice cream tub version of the mint chocolate chip to also have more chocolate. At this point, improving the mint taste became a lower priority. As years went
the mint taste is Monster Hunter's core stuff, and the chocolate being added is the extra features and pizzazz, I think.
Ichinose added more chocolate to the recipe, and the sales continued to remain high. Consumers tended to like this version more, and more chocolate kept being added. In 2018, Capcom announced a brand new recipe for the original mint chocolate chip ice cream.
Is this the tech demo?
This new recipe promised a refined and brand new experience.
It is
in 2018, I opened that tub of ice cream, and I was very excited. But it wasn't mint chocolate chip anymore. It was chocolate with mint pieces. Was it good? Yeah, absolutely. Was it what I wanted? Well, frankly, no. I'm using this ice cream analogy to help illustrate the bias that some veteran players have when they frankly talk shit about the newer Monster Hunter games. Unfortunately for them, the truth is, most people like chocolate more. That's why you find chocolate everywhere. Not everyone likes mint. That's why you don't find mint in everything at chocolate. The original mint was too strong for most players. When they announced extra chocolate, more players were brought on board. When they announced it would be mostly chocolate, they had record-breaking sales. Monster Hunter World is, I think, Capcom's best-selling game. And of course it would be because the chocolate is fantastic. But
Yes. World appealed to more people overall by making more, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like basic design choices, making things more not accessible, but like more friendly to a wider audience. Which casualized. It casualized the series, and that in turn, like chocolate is essentially casualization. It's like, how can we continue to further casualize this game? Like the way that I have to put this into like the ice cream analogy, I hate that. Like he could have just said this without the ice cream analogy. Like. And like I feel like people would, maybe the analogy is okay because people would get more mad if he just said it outright, but like literally it's like the game was over casualized in order to appeal to a wider audience, and then because it was over casualized it sold more, and then that gave them the reasoning to casualize it more. which is true. Like that is true. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's if you like the game like that, you like the game like that. For people that appreciate the old school games, it's kind of a bad thing. But it depends. Not everybody's the same.
The chocolate is not why I bought the game. I bought it for the mint. I always bought it for the mint. So what's the story behind the mint? Where did it go? This video aims to prove that Monster Hunter 2 DOS was the last mint.
That's added to the DOS count. That's 3 DOSes. I get like that, like TJ, I get he's trying to say that, but that's not what it is. Like it's literally about the casualization of Monster Hunter. Just adding more action to the game isn't what brought a ton of people in. It was that is an aspect of it. The action is part of the casualization, you know? You know what I mean? Like at its roots, Monster Hunter is a very like hard game to play. That requires a lot of like forethought and preparation and stuff like that. I have 2 videos on this. I have the world video, which I don't like as much anymore, and I have the retrospective on world, which goes into this a lot.
Focused Monster Hunter.
I'm mad they got rid of the
In other words, the last true Monster Hunter game. The last attempt to create a survival simulator action multiplayer game.
Fighting games are kind of a
considering
good
this
example.
something of a merged retrospective / review / video essay. I'll be dissecting the particulars about.
I wouldn't put all 3. No, like this isn't a criticism really. I wouldn't put all 3 of these in one. I mean, an essay and a retrospective can be the same thing, and a review and an essay can be the same thing, and I guess a retrospective and a review can be the same thing. So if you're putting all of those in together, like whatever. But like I personally, like I make it very clear when I'm making my retrospectives that they are just retrospectives and they are not reviews. If I wanted to do a peer review, it would be different from how I do my retrospectives. And like, because then some people come in and they're like, I thought this was a review. And I'm like, no, it's a retrospective. I am looking back at the game. Unrelated to Jacob's thing. I don't like that.
Monster Hunter 2 DOS that sets it apart from the other titles in the Monster Hunter franchise. I'll also be using the game to support my thesis, if I may call it that, on the game direction this series.
You can call it a thesis. You should say what your thesis is at the beginning, and you can call it a thesis. I think that's fine.
Has nosedived in since Monster Hunter 2 DOS. Though, overall, I'll be mostly comparing Monster Hunter 2 DOS to Monster Hunter World, Iceborne, and Rise. This will be a long video. So, the too long didn't read version is basically this. Monster Hunter as a series has switched focus away from...
The second gen portable titles absolutely do focus on preparation. I don't agree with that. If he says that, I'm gonna be surprised, but he might.
Being a survival simulator action multiplayer game. Monster Hunter as a series has done so by streamlining the gameplay loop to focus on DPS boss fights and the overall player base meta. The
Monster Hunter series has switched focus away from being a survival simulator action multiplayer game. It's not a survival simulator, but that's fine. The Monster Hunter series has done so by streamlining the gameplay loop to focus on DPS boss fights and the overall player base meta. True. Many gameplay features have been streamlined into being effortless or outright removed. Yes, true. Dubbed quality of life. True. Yes, all true.
Gameplay features have been streamlined into being effortless or outright removed.
Yeah, I don't know what he means by DPS boss fights. Like, I feel like I kind of know what he's trying to say, but I don't know what he means exactly.
Quality of life changes by the community and brushed off. Monster Hunter has thus lost elements.
He says it a lot. Okay, wait. What does he mean by DPS boss fights then? What does that mean? Because like we know what a DPS is in an MMO, and we know what a DPS check is in an MMO. If you don't know what a DPS check is in an MMO, it's where you there is a certain part in the fight, whether it be like, you know, at the midpoint for a specific mechanic or later on at the very end of the fight to prevent enrage, where you do a DPS check. And the idea is that your team has to deal enough damage within that point to prevent the enemy from doing an attack that will kill you all. So that's a DPS check. He means that instead of using an entire 50-minute timer to farm the entire map while hunting the monster, you just hunt the monster and leave the quest. I mean, even in the old games, you don't... Well, wait, does DOS have harvest tours? Are there harvest tours in DOS? Because I have, like, through the entirety of my playthroughs in Monster Hunter, I have never enjoyed, like, using the hunt time that I'm in to do all of my gathering. I like to go into the map later to do a harvest tour and do it there. Triton, thank you. I think he means that the objective of the game is to deal the most amount of damage possible. I mean, like that's true for all Monster Hunters. But I think it's better, like, I don't know, who just described it like that? I think Elsie. I think that's a better explanation. Yeah, I think the focus is just going in, fighting the monster, and killing the monster as fast as possible. Like, kind of true. Don't spoil the video, Elsie. Don't spoil the video. I gotta watch it. I haven't seen harvest tours on Village, at least on my playthrough. I guess, so, like, if Dose is before harvest tours were introduced as a mechanic, which I think is a good introduction. Like, I think that was a good mechanic to add. I don't think you should have to go. I don't think you should be forced to do a hunt to go into the map or forced to do a gathering quest. I don't think that's necessary. Like, you're a person, you should have the ability to go out somewhere and do something without being in a hunt. And then a monster can show up during that aspect of your game time, and you can hunt it if you want, but you shouldn't be forced to do that, right? That's why it's like, we were just playing Try, and there was no harvest tour for Volcano, so I had to keep doing the same arbitrary quest over and over again so that I could reset the map. Like, it was super annoying. MH on-site items with no item box playthrough sounds somewhat interesting, albeit tedious. Yeah, there's a balance of tediousness you need to find. Certain amounts of tediousness lend themselves to the game. Too much is obviously overly so.
Loop that one could consider valuable to its original genre. Monster Hunter 2 DOS is the antithesis to the current 5th generation Monster Hunter titles and is the last true Monster Hunter game. And finally,
Is that the thesis? That's the thesis? That's a very long thesis. Hold on. The thesis is that the Monster Hunter series has gone from its roots to an action, like, hack and slash game where your main priority is hunting monsters in fights where your sole focus is dealing as much damage as possible as fast as possible. That is the focus. That we went from a game where we focused on collecting things and preparing and then going out and doing a hunt. Although Jacob's saying here that he wants to go out and he wants to prepare, go out and do the hunt, and then while doing the hunt, spend that entire time gathering, apparently. He doesn't say that here, but someone said that in chat, so we'll see if that's true. I don't know. And so that's the thesis. We went from... The thesis is that we went from old school monster to new school Monster Hunter. We went from hunting monsters and preparing to just hunting monsters.
Game.
That's the thesis.
And finally, every Monster Hunter title since Monster Hunter Portable 2nd have actually been Monster Hunter Portable games.
Absolutely not true.
Monster Hunter games.
Absolutely not true.
I'll get into
that
it.
is absolutely not true. You can see such a distinct difference between the Portable series and its direction in comparison to the mainline series and that direction. Monster Hunter Tri is so much different from Portable Third. Like, it's so different. Portable Third still really had that, like, portable style to it in every aspect. And then Monster Hunter Tri was a completely new and advanced experience coming off the heels of, like, what they learned from the Portable series and Monster Hunter DOS. And you can still see that difference when looking at Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate and looking at Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. They are completely different. Completely different.
That point, in way more detail, very soon.
The last portable Monster Hunter is technically Rise. Though at Rise's point, the teams have kind of converged, and now your biggest differences come from who's directing the game.
Because I know that's a little bit crazy to say. The point of this video is to highlight the unique but flawed experience.
Yeah, we're not
Capcom
even 10 minutes in, guys. It's gonna be a while.
DOS. Capcom's struggle to improve that experience, and how Capcom settled on just adding more chocolate. So sit back and enjoy this very long
Stealing
ride.
Fly-An's emotes? Oh yeah, I forgot.
Did I just evade through the roar? What the heck?
All right, we made it.
My intention
we made it to the
this video
prologue.
is to be as objective as possible.
I'm guessing this is
But
Jumbo
you'll notice
Village.
in my thesis I wrote, one could consider valuable, which is inherently a subjective statement. I'll be clear as possible.
Everything is subjective. This is an opinion piece. I need people to realize that whenever they want to make these, if you want to make a video like this, especially if people tell you that they're biased, just come back at them with like, yeah, of course it is. It's my opinion. It's an opinion piece. The entire thing is subjective. We can use certain objective things to create a subjective opinion, you know? All my retrospectives, biased, completely. Thank you, Silence.
18 months, baby.
Well, I mean, we'll watch it in a second, Totoshka, but I'm telling you now, like, there is a huge difference between subjective and objective, but like generally speaking, these opinion pieces, like what Jacob's going for, completely subjective and completely full of bias, and there's nothing wrong with that. And people need to stop thinking bias is inherently wrong, because it's not. A retrospective is a biased piece of media. It's your bias.
When my points are subjective, and when they are, they're just to provide perspective. Everyone who plays a video game is going to have a different experience and may or may not enjoy that experience. I am not ignorant to the fact that many people prefer the newer Monster Hunter titles to the old. I am the same. Don't
In
get
my
me wrong.
opinion.
Subjectively, the original Monster Hunter 1 was rough to play. From my experience online, a majority of the community seems to share this opinion. However, those who have played the original titles when they were first released are very fond of the unique experience that the older titles provided. This video is to shed light on the unique gameplay features that are missing in current titles, as well as to provide a voice for the minority.
You gotta
that
take the
desires
binoculars.
a proper return to form for the franchise. For example, too many times when I've witnessed veteran fans defend the older titles, the retort from a newer fan is typically along the lines of, "The games weren't as fun," or "It wasn't fun back when you had to do blank."
Gathering quests. Now, if you're new and you've only played Monster Hunter World, you probably don't even know that these existed, and that's for the better, trust me.
What? What? Did he say that? Gaijin Hunter, what the fuck? Oh my god, dude.
Old games had these gathering quests, and sometimes they were actually required to
This guy doesn't even play Monster Hunter. He plays Final Fantasy 14. I've never seen this guy play a Monster Hunter game.
in order to progress. Deliver 20 unique mushrooms. So you're running around a massively huge map, collecting mushrooms, waiting for a random rare drop of a unique mushroom. You have to do this 20 times, go all the way back to camp and deliver it.
This can't be a village quest. He can't be doing a village. Is this a village quest? He said he didn't like gathering quests. This is a hub quest? Oh, that's so misleading. I don't think he did that on purpose, but that's very misleading. Like, Gaijin's a cool guy, and I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt, but that's a very misleading statement. Ancestral step fungus run. Monster Hunter 4 wiki. 2-star quest in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. Are we sure it's a... Yeah, the village version of this quest is deliver 5 unique mushrooms. And so if you did this with 4 people, it's the same quest because it's multiplayer. So, and that's like that's in 2-star. This isn't 4-star, but
Of a unique mushroom, you have to do this 20 times, go all the way back to camp and deliver it.
no, you don't. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that, Gaijin. Come on,
It's not
man.
fun at all.
Fun is a subjective value. It's meaningless in objective discussion.
It is. It's not. We're not doing an objective discussion, Jacob. Jesus. 10 best changes. This is a subjective video. 10 best changes doesn't mean 10 objective changes. Like 10, we have measured the statistics and we have figured out objectively the 10 best changes in Monster Hunter World in comparison to when you do the fungus hunt in Gathering Quest in Monster Hunter GU. No, this is a subjective video. Gaijin's making a subjective video, right?
Fun is a subjective value.
Fun is a subjective value. True.
It's meaningless in objective discussion.
Not completely true. That's not a thing you can just say. Like, subjectivity is a big part of objectivity. You have subjective things, they come into play for objectivity.
Also,
I'm
that
posturing.
exact quest is also in World, so I don't know what he's talking about.
Oh! 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 Get him! Get him, Jacob! Holy shit! Holy shit! He hit him with that! That's so fucking funny! Oh my god! Oh! Oh! Wait, how many do you need? Oh, it's 20! Oh! That's so good. I'm sorry, Gaijin, I love you. That's hilarious. That's so fucking funny that he got him with that. Oh my god.
I don't mind if it serves as an option because it helps you learn the maps and you might get some rewards.
Yes, that's why they put those in the game.
So then you get into
Okay, like, you don't have to shred him. It's an opinion piece, bro.
situations like this, which is super annoying, where you're trying to mine an area for items, but you have to swap or discard stuff, and you're getting attacked by small monsters all at
Yeah, this video dropped when Gaijin started playing Final Fantasy 14. Coincidence? I don't think so.
the same time. Not a fun time.
Actually, you're just not playing the game correctly.
Bruh! Wait. Excuse me?
But you have to swap or discard stuff, and you're getting attacked by small monsters all at the same time. Not a fun time.
Actually,
You do have to do all that, and it's super annoying. I agree. That is an annoying aspect of gathering quests.
you're just not playing the game correctly.
I don't like that. What do you mean by that?
If we go over to Monster Hunter World, it's awesome. You can see where all the mining spots are. Just go up and you can just press a button, and it's almost instantaneous. Again, there was no challenge or strategy in bringing items and managing your item pouch just to collect stuff.
What are you talking about? That is strategy. There is strategy. What? And for those who have tried to
Man, he's going for his throat, man. I can't even disagree with him, but like at the same time, like that's just Gaijin's opinion. He made a video called like 10 best changes. And like even if he made a mistake in that, like who cares? It's a 10 best changes video. Like you don't need to go off on him like that. But yes, inventory management is a strategic element to a video game. That is true. Inventory management is a strategic element of a video game. It has its uses.
defend the older titles, I commend you. However, this discussion is vast and complex,
What's up,
and
Carl?
simply saying it was better back then, or it had a better feeling back then,
Yeah, item management's a huge
just
aspect of
isn't
old school
good
Monster
enough.
Hunter.
nor is saying it's more
And like
immersive.
item management is not just a gathering quest specific thing. Like you need to item manage I feel like that's what Gaijin's trying to say. Like I feel like he's trying to say like, you know, managing your items is way more important in a hunting quest than it is in a gathering quest. So it's more annoying in a gathering quest, which is true. It is more annoying in a gathering quest, but it is still a strategic element of the game.
Asking for a simulator game to be more immersive is a valid request, absolutely. However, the retort
I
will
think they
always
did, yeah.
be that Monster Hunter World is also just as immersive. The same could be said for having more charm. People always say the old games have more charm.
Yes.
I would say Monster Hunter World equally has charm to it.
No, not
It's
equally.
Just
No, you're
not
wrong.
used to it.
You're wrong, Jacob.
I'm exploring
Sorry.
these hypothetical
Incorrect.
straw man
Unobjective
arguments
opinion.
to stir conversation intentionally.
Incorrect.
I want those listening to digest this information
Wrong.
and keep the discussion strong. This is an ongoing conversation. Bottom line, old or original does not equal better.
True.
Nor does new or current equal better.
True.
Neither is better. Going forward, I want to preface that I'm not a game designer.
I'm a game
I
designer.
will attempt to discuss game design.
All right,
for
I'm the
these
authority.
games
Let's
entirely
go.
from a player perspective. So if I make a mistake, please feel free to let me know. Furthermore,
It caused
because I'll
drama?
be comparing the
Interesting.
likes of Monster 2 DOS from 2006 to
Yeah, I
Monster
worked in
5
Ottawa
World
for
from
a while,
2018,
making video
there will
games.
obviously be aspects of the older title that will feel archaic to the newer
No,
title.
I made like a bingo,
I want to
a
be very
mobile game,
clear that
bingo
the
game one
archaic
time.
game
And then
design
I
does
was like, I
not
don't like doing this.
automatically equate to bad game design.
And then I made some
Monster
other like,
Hunter, like every
minor
video
projects
game
and stuff.
series, experiments with its design every title and tends to settle on aspects and features that smoothen the gameplay loop and pleases the overall player base. In other words, to ensure it actually
Oh yeah,
sells.
doesn't he call me out in this video? Is it this video? Do I get thrown under the bus? I'm gonna off myself in Minecraft. Alright. What? Alright, cool. We got
Monster
time.
Hunter 2 DOS is very different from World or Rise and asks the player to play the game very differently. This, again, does not equate bad game design. The game philosophy is just different. For this video, when I refer to game philosophy, I refer to the individual decisions the developers took to create a gameplay loop. I want to stress that this video is not claiming that any specific Monster Hunter title has a better design philosophy than the others. Rather, this video is to highlight the qualities of Monster Hunter 2 DOS's design philosophy that are absent in subsequent titles. I'll be comparing this to Monster Hunter World and Monster Hunter Rise's design philosophy and discussing where the current Monster Hunter design philosophy came from over the last decade. From my ice cream analogy, it should be clear. Monster Hunter portable games are responsible for the destruction of Monster Hunter games. I actually still see players in the community confused over whether or not Monster Hunter Rise is considered a portable game, despite it being made by Ichinose's team. Personally, I believe that anyone with actual experience with the other portable titles should be able to immediately recognize this game as a portable entry from an aesthetic standpoint, and also clearly from the deliberately simple narrative the game presents. Especially when you can...
No, that I don't know what he's talking about with the narrative, but yes, everything, pretty much everything within this game, it makes it very obvious that Ichinose directed it.
Compare these to Monster Hunter World. Capcom has gone out of their way to ditch the old nomenclature.
By the way, that changes in Sunbreak, because it's not Ichinose.
Of the series in order to not alienate potential new buyers.
Is that how you say it?
The title Monster Hunter World sounds like a game that's easier to get into compared to the title Monster Hunter 5. Newcomers aren't necessarily always aware that each Monster Hunter game is actually a completely standalone experience and does not require the player to play the previous entries in order to understand this current release. The numbers on the box apparently tend to scare consumers. Capcom has even gone out of their way to claim that Monster Hunter Rise is the next mainline installment in the franchise.
When did they say that?
In other words, a Monster Hunter 6.
No. When did they say that? Did I miss that? He might have read that somewhere. I'm just curious where that came from. Because I'm pretty sure that's very much not the case. The others say I found a video saying Rise is actually the 7th generation of Monster Hunter. Like I've said this before, but if you watch my, I don't have the information on me right now, and I don't remember exactly what I said. But if you watch my history video on Rise, I talk about there was some internal development stuff I found that showed that the teams had kind of like intertwined, and you definitely can't say there's like a portable team and a mainline team anymore, but this is very much not like a Monster Hunter 6. This is like the next one's going to be Monster Hunter 6.
Despite their internal planning documents listing the actual Monster Hunter 6 to be released sometime in 2023 or 2024. I understand why they're doing this. Capcom wants to push Monster Hunter Rise as a new entry, not some kind of weird Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, Gaijin confirmed it, but I did it first. Me. Super rad. The GOAT.
Spin-off. And this is why the game isn't called Monster Hunter Portable 5th. The portable title was dropped for Monster Hunter Cross and will likely never return. Despite the title being gone, I strongly believe that Monster Hunter Portable's philosophy and design has directly impacted the non-portable games. Despite this title being gone, I strongly believe that Monster Hunter Portable's philosophy and design has directly impacted the non-portable games. Impacted them enough to where I truly believe that every game has actually been a Monster Hunter Portable game, regardless of whether or not Ichinose's team has worked on it. Throughout this video, I will refer to both Monster Hunter and Monster Hunter Portable. And I need to define what I'm implying when I mention these terms moving forward. I am not referring...
Yeah, let's not be overly hostile to Jacob, but like, yeah, exactly. Like, it's basically like they do influence each other. But just because there's influence doesn't make one now a portable entry through design, you know? Like I get what he's going for, but like influence that they're internal teams in the same company. There's obviously going to be influence. And that's going to change things. Things are going to evolve over time. There's still such a huge distinction between Monster Hunter Tri and Portable Third, you know? There's like these are play Tri and then play Portable Third. Like please tell me they're the same game. Like they are so drastically different from one another. Not take out water. Like you don't even have to look at the water. They are just completely different games.
Referring to the literal physical games known as Monster Hunter and Monster Hunter Portable. I'm referring to the specific, unique video game genres that are attached
I know
to
he
these
said that,
two
Eric.
games.
I'm curious,
I am
like,
using these
what those
terms as
changes are.
quantifiers or placeholder titles. The definition
Keep in mind, I'm just going based off of what's in this video. Apparently Jacob's opinions have changed. We can't take all of those. When I say Monster Hunter Portable, I'm not referring to the portable games. Okay.
of Monster Hunter Portable does not represent a Monster Hunter title on a portable console, nor does it represent a port of a Monster Hunter to another console. My definition of Monster Hunter Portable also does not represent a game developed by Ichinose or the Portable team, which
This is the collection of Monster Hunter Portable games. This is it, just to be clear.
for those who don't know, refer to the developers at Capcom that created Monster Hunter Portable, Portable Second, Second G, Portable Third, Cross, Double Cross, and Rise.
I will say there's colonialism shit in the world. There is. It's true.
So, to clarify, I'm considering the titles Monster Hunter and Monster Hunter 2 DOS as Monster...
No way, bro. You put 3G there? Where's Try?
Hunter games. I'm considering
Where's
the titles
Try?
Monster Hunter 3G, 4, 4G, World, Iceborne, as well as Monster Hunter Portable, Portable Second,
Thank you for the
Second
follows.
G, Portable Third, Cross, Double Cross, and Rise as Monster Hunter Portable games.
Oh, man,
I
Jacob.
deliberately
Fuck
left
me,
out
man.
Monster Hunter 3, the original, for the Wii. It's because I can't decide if I consider it a Monster Hunter game or a Monster Hunter Portable game.
Okay, let's hold on. No, Monster Hunter mainline games just based off of the idea of the design. Right away, here we go. Mainline: Monster Hunter, Monster Hunter 2 DOS, Monster Hunter 3 Tri, Monster Hunter 3G, Monster Hunter 4, Monster Hunter 4G, Monster Hunter World, Monster Hunter Iceborne. Done. This is portable. 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 This is portable, and this is portable. And Sunbreak is portable. Everything else, main.
By my definition, that's something that's...
Being on a portable console has nothing to do with the portable design philosophy. It's an unfortunate title, but we base it off of the portable team design philosophy. That's what makes it a portable game, not whether it's actually physically portable.
I think up to debate because it has a little bit of both.
Ichinose
When I
is what
refer
makes
to
something
Monster Hunter
portable,
I'm referring to a game that has a different genre from Monster
Yeah,
Hunter.
say an A game
this
or a B
genre is difficult to describe and is essentially evolved into what we consider the hunting game genre. There are other franchises that have games I consider holding this genre, such as Dauntless, God Eater, or Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. A Monster Hunter game is not better than a Monster Hunter Portable game. Let me be clear there. They are separate entities and experiences. It is difficult to rank these against one another on objective quality. Now, Monster Hunter and Monster Hunter Portable games appear to be structured the same on surface level. In both genres, the player partakes in a quest loop system. This
What
quest
the
loop
bloom?
system can be described as completing specific tasks within an environment, which then provides the player with reward items that can be used to ultimately improve the player character.
You honestly, like, it's this is gonna sound silly, but you can kind of consider it very similar in design to a Monster Hunter game for sure. Peace Walker specifically, Portable Ops not so much.
Character's stats. Improving the player character's stats allows the player to complete more difficult tasks in these environments. The cycle repeats until the player has completed every task or every quest. Monster Hunter Portable is a game bearing the Monster Hunter title and subject matter. However, it differentiates itself from Monster Hunter games.
That worked? How did that work? I thought his back foot would have hit
by
him.
focusing solely on the more difficult quests, usually the ones against boss monsters. The game challenges the player to face different boss monsters one after another, each one proving to be more difficult than the last. This gameplay loop has been described as the core gameplay loop of Monster Hunter. This is considered the grind by the community. This video aims to prove that the actual core gameplay loop of Monster Hunter was lost, and that the current core gameplay loop of Monster Hunter is actually the core gameplay loop of Monster Hunter Portable. The grind, as it is known today, did not exist in Monster Hunter 1
maybe
or
got
2,
extra
not in
frames.
the same way. I define the grind as repeating the same activity over and over again. This repetition is required in order to acquire the RNG drops and increase the player rank. Monster Hunter 1 and 2 did not require a grind for increasing rank, and the game actively prevented the player from easily repeating the same activity over and over again. Evidence for this will
Monster Hunter 1 and Monster Hunter 2 does not push the player into a grind, instead of actively prevents the player from grinding. He's gonna explain this. He's gonna explain it. So let's everyone relax. Don't go for his throat, okay? Jacob's a nice guy. We're just gonna we're confused. We're confused right now. And he's going to explain it, and then we're going to see the merit in the opinion. Goji, thank you for the follow.
will be expanded through.
Remember that we listen to what he's saying, and we get hit by the psychic damage, and then we try to see the message through the presentation.
The video. Monster Hunter 2 DOS is the main focus of this video because
Shut
it
up,
represents,
Akira.
celebrates, and expands the original
Splatoon
core
3 is
gameplay
definitely
loop
portable.
of Monster Hunter. Before Monster Hunter Portable 2nd boiled down the gameplay loop into a string of boss fights and grinding. Instead, Monster Hunter 2 DOS is a survival hunting and gathering village simulation game, and the last truly survival and
This is like the main
simulator-focused title
point, I
in the
think.
series.
Like everyone
in
always
part
brings
1 of
this
this
up.
video, I will need to introduce the game, its history, and its significance in
We're
the
still in
franchise
part
at time of
0.
release. But I'll also explain my relative history with it, and I'll outline the game's controls to provide
They're gonna make
context
Splatoon
for
Chronicles
later
X.
segments. In parts 2 to 8, I'll outline specific gameplay elements such as the quest system, day and night and season cycles,
Day
the
and
concept
night.
of deliberate action, the lack of a farm, etc. All of these are critically important to my thesis on this game and the Monster Hunter franchise as a whole. If at any point you wish to pause the video, timestamps will be in the comments and description for you to return if you take a break. Ultimately, I'm hoping this video will generate a discussion in the community. I'd like for the older philosophies and
it did
features to be
that.
highlighted and appreciated.
It did that, Jacob.
And push for a Monster Hunter title that focuses on the original, the actual core gameplay loop.
Yeah, it takes a
of
lot
Monster
to make a
Hunter.
video like
Though
this.
I am aware that the Western players will never hold the same influence on the developers as the Japanese players do. Okay, we're almost there. I just have 2 more quick notes I gotta say before I begin. 1. My budget is tight, and I do not prioritize purchasing better hardware for gaming. I am completely content with Monster Hunter World running on the absolute lowest possible settings. In fact, I've
Thanks,
joked about this
Foxstar Man.
before, I'm actually running Monster Hunter World on a Macintosh computer. Everyone told me it wasn't possible, but I proved them wrong. Eventually, I will have to upgrade and get a better computer, because I do want to get Rise on the PC, but for now, I'm content with what I have. And besides, the graphical settings of the game are largely inconsequential to the points made in this video, and they're not critical to my discussion here. And number 2, I'm not a pro at Monster Hunter, so if I don't perfectly iframe every single attack in the gameplay footage, I'm sorry. I'll do my best to get better.
Yeah,
it's gonna take me a few more 1,000 hours.
I made a
of playing
video
before
about,
can
I
get-
don't remember what the video was. I think it was about alchemy style. And there's a lot of footage of me like getting my ass beat. And there was I was in this Discord, and like people were just having an open discussion about like being mad at me for that footage of me getting my ass beat. Like they were like that's the community sometimes. Like there's people in the community that will be mad at you when they watch you play the game poorly. That's fucked.
Get to, the point of a speedrunner. And even then, like, that's not my goal. I take my time with the games. That being said, player skill doesn't get brought up much in this video, and it's largely not critical to this discussion. Alright, that's everything. Let's
Is he
begin.
playing this at stretched 16:9? That's it. I can't even watch this video anyway. That's fucked up. Oh, but he has the cutscene at 4x3. All right, wait. Let me grab coffee. Let me grab coffee before we keep going. I'll be right back. Ah, wrong bumper.
Present time.
And you don't seem to understand. A shame you seemed an honest man. And all the fears you hold so dear will turn to whisper in your ear. And you know what they say might hurt you, and you know that it means so much, and you don't even feel a thing. I am falling, I am fading, I have lost it all. And you don't seem the lying kind. A shame that I can read your mind, and all the things that I read there can do like smiles that we both shared. And you know I don't mean to hurt you, but you know that it means so much, and you don't even feel a thing. I am falling, I am fading, I am drowning. Help me to breathe. I am hurting, I have lost it all.
I am back. Sorry. Coffee wasn't ready yet. All right. Explain this foreign game and the terrible controls.
Monster Hunter 2 DOS was only released in Japan. It's impossible to play this game in English legally, unfortunately. I respect Capcom, and I love this.
That's not true. That that is just that is here we go. That's objectively untrue. It is legal to emulate video games. Sony, the reason it's illegal to emulate video games is because Sony lost the court case on it. Oh, you didn't miss much though, already. It is illegal to emulate video games. If you own a copy of Monster Hunter DOS physical, you can dump it legally and run it on an emulator. This is that Kotaku article all over again where they said that you can emulate Dread and people got mad at them. It is legal to emulate video games. You can do that because Sony fucked up and lost the court case. It's not illegal. Oh, the BIOS. You know what? I don't even know if that's illegal. I guess it's. I think, you know what? No, that's not illegal either. You can dump your own BIOS. You can dump your own BIOS. Emulation is legal. You can dump the BIOS. Everything is if you own the stuff, you can do it. Yeah. Sony's L is RW.
This franchise that they have created.
Anyway, I need Jacob to make a tweet fixing this, please. It is legal to play this in English. Starting May 5th.
So it's unfortunate that I must illegally patch this game in order to play it.
No, it's not illegal to mod a game for your personal use. That is not illegal.
Comfortably. Monster Hunter is a series that has always required basic reading ability to properly.
I mean, I said that like with like authority. Maybe there's like some weird law somewhere. I don't think so though.
Play. I'm sure many others struggled with Monster Hunter Portable 3rd on the PSP because it too was only released in Japan. I own nearly every Monster Hunter game. I've even bought World and Iceborne twice, first on the PlayStation 4 and then on PC.
Bro, you could have just filmed this better, please, Jacob.
Oh, my Mac. I'm saying all this to show that, again, I respect Capcom and I wish for them to succeed as a company. I've given them a lot of money. I ask for an allowance on just this game, just this once, because I want to experience this game, and I want to experience it properly and understand what I'm selecting in these menus.
Oh, he's playing
in the
with
gameplay footage that I'll present in the
he's
video.
Playing with the Google
I'll
Translate.
be using an English patch for the game.
English patch.
Though, the patch is incomplete, and the NPC dialogue remains untranslated. I am technically missing out on the game's truest, purest experience, but it is understandable that this wasn't translated because this was a freelance translation job, and I don't blame the guy. Now for a proper introduction. Monster Hunter 2 DOS is the follow-up home console title to Monster Hunter G, and it actually contains all the monster and equipment content from Monster Hunter G. It also grabbed the new content from Monster Hunter Portable as well, such as Yan Garuga and the Kirin armor. Essentially, it could be viewed as an expansion to Monster Hunter G.
I know you said, I don't know what you're talking about.
There were changes to the game's general flow, and the hunting locales were different, and there were brand new monsters. And the village and town were both brand new locations as well. But the game didn't get a new engine, or changes to the control scheme. It was just more content compared to the last game, with almost all the pre-existing content still included. In fact, even the old village from Monster Hunter 1 is unlocked at the end of the offline story.
Oh, that's
I'm making
sick.
a big point out of
awesome.
this because after Generation 2, this doesn't happen again.
I forgot about that.
For example, Monster Hunter 3 does not expand on 2.
Look at the bloom!
It's a whole new game with a new engine. Most of the content from Monster Hunter 2 DOS was cut for
I feel like
3.
it doesn't even look
Monster
this bloomy
Hunter 4
when I
does
play
not
it.
expand on 3. The game was radically different, and again, much of the content from 3 was cut. Monster Hunter 5 World did this again. Obviously, Capcom does this because they want every
I would
entry
definitely
to be
say 4
fresh,
expanded
and they
on
want
3.
to highlight
It just
the new
removed
content
underwater.
rather than repeat the
But
old,
it definitely
which
expanded
is
on 3.
absolutely fine. Though Generation 2
The similarities
stands as
between
an
Tri-
anomaly because it's the only
similarities between Tri and 4U are closer than Freedom Unite and Tri.
generation where nearly nothing was cut. Everything was just expanded. As for my personal history with Monster Hunter 2 DOS, the game was always very mysterious. It was difficult to find gameplay footage of the game on YouTube back in
My hair seems
2009
so
when I
fucking
got into
big,
Monster
man.
Hunter.
God damn.
There's still not a lot of footage on there today. I played Monster Hunter 3 Tri first. That was my first game. When I would research how to play Monster Hunter 3, I discovered that there was a huge amount of Monster Hunter content that seemed to be missing in Monster Hunter 3, the content from Generations 1 and 2. This content intrigued me. I played Monster Hunter Portable 2nd G to get the content that I was looking for, because Monster Hunter 2 DOS was never localized. However, having now played Monster Hunter 2 DOS, I realized that it is a very different game compared to Portable 2nd G. Do not let anyone fool you into believing they are the same experience. They are not.
True.
Interesting to note, Monster Hunter 2 DOS was developed in less than 2 years' time. Monster Hunter 1 was released March 11th, 2004. Monster Hunter G, the expansion, was released less than a year later in January 20th, 2005. And then Monster Hunter 2 DOS was released February 16th, 2006. With such an extreme turnaround, it's not surprising that the game's engine was not really refined. The game's controls remained exactly the same, and the overall quality stayed equivalent to the previous entries. The overall experience of Monster Hunter 2 DOS is actually closer to Monster Hunter 1's overall experience. That's why I said at the beginning I consider them both true Monster Hunter games. This video is primarily about Monster Hunter 2 DOS. However, many qualities of this game also apply to Monster Hunter 1. While I will outline all of the new features Monster Hunter 2 DOS introduced, I will also mention features that are actually present within both games. I find that it is common to hear sour opinions on Monster Hunter 1. The original GameSpot review of Monster Hunter 1 is quite harsh, calling it archaic even in 2004. Both Monster Hunter G and Monster Hunter 2 DOS did very little to improve the archaic design, which is consensually agreed upon by most people who've played Monster Hunter 1. The controls for Monster Hunter 2 DOS are the same as they were in Monster Hunter 1.
Monster Hunter 1's
Attacks
garbage.
are dealt through the use of the right analog stick. It's a bit unorthodox. The only other time I've seen this in an action game was in Metal Gear Solid 2's Sword segment. It was okay in that game because the player didn't need control of the camera. That game was
I played through all of
fixed
Freedom
camera
Unite, so I'll know
placements.
if it's similar to DOS or
cumbersome in
not.
Monster Hunter because the game is in a completely open three-dimensional map.
Just don't fish.
Where control of the camera is essential to play efficiently.
What's up, Bean?
In Monster Hunter 1, the monsters were more sluggish, so there was some leg room. But the new monsters introduced in Monster Hunter 2 DOS move and turn more efficiently.
Me?
Being on top of the camera is really important to play well. Thankfully, pressing the L1 button will spin the camera to be facing forward. And the directional buttons give all the other camera movement a player may ask for.
Is he gonna show
you
the
see,
claw?
on a PlayStation controller, it's not so bad. The infamous claw trick was to use your index finger to hit the directional buttons while your thumb was used for movement. We had to do this on the PSP as well. It takes some time getting used to it, but it's not impossible. However, if you try this out with a controller that has the left stick and directional buttons switch places compared to a PlayStation controller, for example, an Xbox or Nintendo controller, you will have some awful trouble using your index to manipulate a joystick while your thumb presses directional buttons.
Oh fuck, that's
I usually
true.
end up putting my whole hand on the thing. I would not recommend using a controller with
How
a
am I gonna
placement
do
like
that?
this. On the note of Nintendo controllers, I also do not recommend using a GameCube controller. I had a friend try it and it just doesn't work. There are some other strange button differences in Monster 2 DOS compared to the modern games. The triangle button pulls up the chat.
I'll figure it out.
L2 is for cycling through items. R2 is for dashing, which is separate from R1, which is exclusively for special attack.
Ew.
I've read in forums from when Monster Portable was released.
R2 for
and
dashing?
discovered that some players were upset that
took a
R1
break.
was no longer dedicated to one action, but now both, claiming it's easier to guard this way. The separation of R1 and R2 as separate actions returned with Monster Hunter World. Personally, I prefer when they are combined, but it is up to
There's a setting though that lets you make them combined. So it was now you had the choice, which is fine.
player preference. The circle button is used for accepting in menus, and X is used to cancel, which was standard in Japanese games. Actually, if you try to play Monster Hunter 1, you'll notice that they switch the roles of O and X so that it's consistent with American games. O is now cancel, and X is accept. But they
Really?
swap the functions for these buttons as well, so X is for carving
What?
and gathering, while O is for evading. The controls are very strange. Even though Monster Hunter 2 DOS was released after Monster Hunter Portable, the developers chose not to use Monster Hunter Portable's control scheme. They probably believed the old control scheme was superior, or they wanted to keep it consistent. I also theorize that it might have been intentional, like they wanted the player to have difficulty. Either way, this is an
No, bro, like I can't think of any game developer that like yeah, like it exactly like if you play Armored Core and you got the backwards grip, you know, like I don't think any game. I think that one was intentional. I might be wrong about that. I can't remember. I'm not a big Armored Core head, but I don't think any developer goes into a game with their control scheme and says like, yeah, I want this to be as obtuse as possible so that they have a harder time playing it. That is just not something any game developer would think of. That's insane. It's just back at that time, like even back then when we had 2 analog sticks and we were on the PS2, some people were just still having trouble figuring out. Some developers were just like, I don't know, like this seems to work, you know? And they didn't put as much time into figuring out what works perfectly, and nothing had fully standardized yet. Like you only really started to see like that kind of like universal gameplay style in first-person shooters on PS2 and Xbox at that time. And then as those got popularized, the entire control scheme, like camera being on right stick and stuff like that, it became more acceptable. People did play with the backwards grip on Armored Core. I don't know if it was like an intentional design choice though. No, people used it. I'm pretty sure. Is it not true? It might. Maybe it's not. Let's find out. Complicated looking way to hold the PlayStation controllers. Years back, Kotaku reported on, and this is Kotaku, Australia. Reported on an inventive way to hold the DualShock to play FromSoft's mecha game Armored Core. Now in 2019, it's back. Legendary Armored Core grip. The grip style is so legendary in Japan, it's even made a manga appearance. At the time, I initially assumed this was a gag. That's actually what Japanese forum users said when the photo first surfaced. But was this ever a real thing? Back when Kotaku originally reported the story, mecha game expert Ollie Barter said, basically fans took the piss out of the fact that the game required you to have about 15 fingers and that this was the only solution. It's one of those satirical gaming points, I think, as I've never seen any of my AC playing friends in Japan playing the game this way. Bear in mind, I participated in tournaments back in the PS2 days as well. Okay, so yeah, it is fake. Thanks, Kotaku. Sorry about what's going on lately. Do you see that picture Luke Plunkett posted, man? One of your buddies used it for PvP. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. You're crazy. You're lying. You're lying in my chat. That's crazy. We are all gaslit so frickin' hard on that.
An incredibly
Clog grip's
cumbersome
real,
control
though.
scheme that takes many hours to master, especially if the player is already familiar with the more modern controls.
Yeah, what
present
game was
in the
that,
newer
Mel?
titles.
I remember that.
Monster Hunter 1 was built around online play first and foremost. This is evident by both the marketing and known development history of the title.
True. It's
I
a
believe
co-op
the single
game.
player mode was designed as a bonus, and for players who do not have internet access. Once the player goes
Maybe.
online, they'll find the overall experience of the game
Maybe
more
true.
manageable. The cumbersome controls and camera aren't so bad when the monsters are switching their target to other players. Monster Hunter 1's story is essentially non-existent because of this. The focus was on online multiplayer experience, and most of the content is only available via the online servers. Because of this, I find Monster Hunter 1 to be unplayable. Most of the content, the good content, could only be accessed by playing online, and since the online servers have been shut down, you can no longer access them. As a single-player only game now, it's an incomplete experience.
He's right from like a, if you were playing it on the console, true, but like I'm pretty sure he made this when the private server was up. I wonder if he brings that up.
I don't think that anyone would disagree if I said that Monster Hunter Portable is a better experience than the original Monster Hunter 1 is now.
True.
You don't need to play Monster Hunter 1 because Monster Hunter Portable is the same game with improvements.
Oh shit, I don't know if Ludi's watching this, but Ludi's always the one that comes to me and is like, no, that is not true. You have to play Monster Hunter 1 and then you have to play Freedom because they are different in ways that you will never assume. Like that.
All the
always
extra
comes to me.
monster and equipment content from Monster Hunter G, it uses the modern control scheme, the feline kitchen,
Scope
a
of
new
the video,
farm
maybe,
system,
yeah.
and none of the content is locked behind any sort of online server. All of these improvements in Portable were repeated in Monster Hunter Portable 2nd and 2nd G, so the same statement is posed. You don't need to play Monster Hunter 2 DOS, because Monster Hunter Portable
for
2nd
Japan
G
only, yeah.
is the same game with improvements. Though
I
I'm
think they
sure
were
there
doing
are
a
a few
G1
who
too.
may agree, I would call this statement completely false. Monster Hunter 2 DOS made me realize that many of the improvements found in the portable games directly impacted the definition of old-school Monster Hunter gameplay. The portable game's core gameplay loop was vastly different. The game was redefined. Every single Monster Hunter title since Portable 2nd G has been built on this redefined gameplay loop, the Monster Hunter Portable philosophy. Monster Hunter 2 DOS decided not to improve its predecessor's shortcomings, and instead the game embraced them. While the developers did improve the offline single-player experience immensely, they did not improve any of the overall game's archaic design. The offline experience for both Monster Hunter 1 and Monster Hunter 2 DOS is extremely difficult, though Monster Hunter 2 DOS offers new features that expand on that harsh difficulty, not to make it more or less difficult, but rather to add more nuance to the mechanics. I'll
babe.
cover these
Love you. Yeah, it's nice. What? Listen, I am the first person to say that like some of the quality of life improvements that they make in like from one game to another is not always the best choice. Sometimes a quality of life improvement is not the best thing you could do for your game, you know? Because part of the he's cooking, I ain't eating the That's so good. Yeah, I'm gonna use that. I'm pretty sure Jacob disagrees with a lot of these takes now. Yeah, I know. We're not talking. This is past Jacob. We're judging past Jacob, not new Jacob. Yeah, that's just not true. A lot of the controls, for example, like are archaic. They are just archaic, and like we have learned to standardize controls in video games to make them more appealing while still they do not detract from what the game used to be. So that's just one example, right? And I can't even fathom the idea that they had like people had real issues with certain design choices in Monster Hunter 1 and the game is being praised for not fixing them in 2. Like that's insane. Like to be like, yeah, Portable fixed issues, fixed bad design decisions, and that makes it not a real Monster Hunter game anymore. Like, no, that's not true. That's not true. That there is a certain level of evolution that comes with each game, a certain level of refinement that we expect from each game. Certain games take that too far, and I wouldn't say the Portable series took it too far. I wouldn't say going from Monster Hunter 1 to Monster Hunter Freedom is the jump in fixes and game design is too far, you know? I would say For You to World is too far in certain aspects, but I wouldn't say that about 1 to Freedom.
Changes in great detail throughout this video. This video exists because I want to highlight...
Don't stop. I know we're joking. Don't insult Jacob, please. Jacob's a chill person, and they like don't feel the way they do about all this anymore.
The unique changes Monster Hunter 2 DOS made in order to forge a new video game genre. All these unique changes were abandoned over the last decade as Monster Hunter has shifted into a different direction, a separate new video game.
Yeah, getting rid of cold drinks. Perfect example. I always use this example. Getting rid of cold drinks was stupid. They were arbitrary, but they added to the overall aesthetic of the game. I don't know what word I would use there, but you know what I mean.
Game genre.
Yeah, don't be mean, please. The vibe, thank you. Thank you for the follow. Combo books, I liked combo books.
DOS, the basic
thematic
gameplay
consistency,
loop of
maybe.
Village Quest is still here. However, the choice in which quests
Why Monster Hunter DOS is called DOS, not 2 or 2 DOS. It's actually called Monster Hunter 2 DOS. It's Monster Hunter 2 DOS. I'm pretty sure it's Monster Hunter 3 Try, isn't it?
can be chosen and how the player manages their time in this game is very different. It's built around unique systems that were never brought back for future titles. I'll use this.
If anybody tells me, if he says this ever, I know he's going to talk about the hitbox, but if he ever tells me that Plesioth only being in the water is a good mechanic, I'm going to write a manifesto.
This to elaborate on the concept of deliberate
Try fix this issue.
Action and break down the original intention behind certain gameplay features that continue to
Try fixed it in the best way. Try and 3 Ultimate fixed it in the best way. By making Plesioth, you could go into the water. I don't like how Rise does it or World does it, where you're in waist deep water. Not even waist deep. You're in ankle deep water, and the monster can just like go and swim in it. Stupid. Just don't have water monsters at that point. Don't have amphibian monsters.
To remain in current Monster Hunter titles to this day.
Yeah, true.
I believe
Exactly.
many players playing Monster Hunter 2 DOS for the first time without any knowledge of its differences will expect it to play like Monster Hunter Portable 2nd G. In simplest terms, the player has a home village, and they must select quests to embark on. And this is technically true for Monster Hunter 2 DOS, both those things are there. However,
Oh my god, you choose them by area? There's no way.
the actual quest system is quite different, and
That's
I'll
crazy.
explain why. The quest system used in Monster Hunter Portable 2nd G, and virtually every other Monster Hunter title, is the same quest system as the one from Monster Hunter 1. In every Monster Hunter title except Monster Hunter 2 DOS, quests are separated by hunter level, by a rank or star level system. Within each bracketed rank is a variety of different quest types. Delivery quests are to gather, mine, catch, fish, or salvage a specific material for a client. Sometimes these quests are to carry a fragile material, such as an egg. Hunting quests are to hunt or capture large monsters
spoil
for
the
a
video.
client. Capture quests are to capture large monsters for a client. Slaying quests are to cull a number of small monsters for a client, and slaying quests are also used to specifically slay
I can take
or
or leave
repel
egg
an
quests.
elder
I
dragon
personally
for a
don't.
client.
I
By
don't hate
completing
them,
certain quests,
even though
termed
they've ruined my
key
life.
quests, the player unlocks the next bracketed rank, which theoretically has more difficult monsters. It's all really arbitrary. In Monster Hunter 2 DOS, the system is different. While the star ranking system
That is
does
not true,
exist in
Garden.
the quest details, the quests are not separated by bracketed ranks. They are organically sorted by their locale, present factors, and monster variety. Furthermore, the quests are not separated by quest type. The details state a variety of goals for the player to complete. I have to make this clear. In Monster 2 DOS, there's no gathering quests or hunting quests. They're just quests. They don't have those specific terms attached to them like they are in every.
This is a hunting quest. That's a hunting quest. You're crazy. Well, what are the other Piscine wyverns? There's Plesioth. There's Gyrototus. Cephadrome. I like him more than Cephadrome, I will admit. Oh yeah, Beatotus. I think he means it doesn't specifically say hunting or slaying. If that's what he means, sure, but like this is a hunting quest.
They don't have those specific.
Wait, that's a hunting quest.
Separated by quest.
That's a hunting quest.
They're not separated by bracketed.
There's a gathering quest there.
The ranking system does.
There's a gathering quest
the quest details. The quests are not separated by bracketed.
Yes. You just missed it. But there was a gathering quest and there's a hunting quest.
Ranks. They are organically sorted by their locale present. In Monster 2 DOS, there's no gathering quests or hunting quests. They're just quests. They don't have those specific
100% new monsters.
Terms attached to them.
I mean, technically, Try was like very close to that, and it wasn't received very well. So I don't know. I think they kind of need to bring in. I would be fine with it, but they need to bring previous monsters in for everybody else that would feel that the roster's too small.
Like they are in every other game. They're just goal completion quests. On top of that, the actual number of quests are extremely limited.
Binox.
There's only one true, I would call, gathering quest available for the entire game, and it's to collect 8 special mushrooms in the jungle.
No, we just saw one. What are you talking about? Was that the quest? Oh, maybe. Oh, okay. Maybe there is only one gathering quest.
Monster 2 DOS, there's only one true, I would call, gathering quest available for the entire game, and it's to collect 8 special mushrooms in the jungle. There are no harvest tour quests.
Fuck.
So if the player wants to gather materials from a locale like the swamp, they will be required to accept a quest such as Hunt a Gypceros. Quests are more nuanced. The player has more activities to cover than just hunting large monsters or delivering an item. For this reason, Monster 2 DOS introduced the concept of subquests, which has been a feature that has been added and removed multiple times in the Monster Hunter titles over the years. The developers seem to be unsure whether this feature is necessary in the game.
It's very necessary.
Monster Hunter 2 DOS is the only title where it is absolutely necessary.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's absolutely necessary in DOS because they don't give you harvest tour quests or gathering quests. Like they were like, this, we don't have this really crucial mechanic and we are substituting it with this other mechanic.
And, in my opinion, is the best rendition.
He said 8, but the quest on the screen said 5, and then in subtitles or like in a caption he said it depends on the season, it can be 5 or 8.
Of this concept. These seemingly missing delivery quests have been combined with the hunting quests, and they act as the subquests. Completing subquests allow the player to prematurely end the quest without completing the main goal, and offers separate quest rewards. This is useful for a smaller or specific reward.
Yes.
For example, egg carrying quests are completely optional. They are only completed via subquests. Completing subquests also gives the player more supplies from the item box.
Yes.
So the game teaches the player to complete these subquests as often as possible.
Yes.
I compare this unique system of questing to Monster Hunter World and Monster Hunter Rise's expeditions. They are essentially 50-minute map explorations with a number of completion goals. The player may complete one or all of these goals, and they may have their own goals as well. For example, when I got to the Lunastra fight, which is Monster Hunter 2 DOS's final boss, I was more interested in mining for Dragonite ore because I knew that the Ancient Tower was the only place I could get Dragonite ore at the time.
What?
I have seen fans complain that there are too many gathering quests in the current titles. Perhaps the developers heard the complaints and desired to improve this in Monster 2 DOS by integrating all the gathering quests into the hunting quests, making them all essentially optional. As a result, the quest list is quite small.
I mean, like, how many key quests in Try are gathering quests? Like, if we looked at Village. I think having gathering quests is fine. I think that's great. Gathering quests and harvest tours are fantastic mechanics. They are additions to the game and allow you to do things outside of the hunt, you know? Like, I know it's called Monster Hunter, but not everything we do in that game is about hunting monsters. If he wants it to be a simulator, like, give us the option to go out and simulate the environment, right? Village quests, try. I just want to see how many key quests are gathering quests. There's 1, 2. There's 2. Wait. There's 2. There's 2 gathering quests that are required in try. That's it. That's all you have to do. And their overall inclusion makes up for the fact that you have to do 2 of them, in my opinion.
Smaller than other.
You can have both, eh? Like you could have like a quest that gives you specific rewards for completing it in a gathering quest, and you can have harvest tours. Like we used to have both. Harvest tours are just expeditions.
Games. In Universe, this unique system of quest goals ties itself.
The egg quests are probably like the hardest to defend. Like I can't really defend egg quests that much.
Better to the client's demands. If multiple clients desire for the player to complete many tasks out in the same map, why not combine the goals together? Though it should be noted that some quests do not feature subquests.
Also, gathering quests are not that money really starts to matter when it comes to accepting a quest, but gathering quests are cheaper than doing hunting quests.
And they are usually for monster subspecies or elder dragons. For these fights, the client only wants one thing done, the destruction of a single dangerous monster. The player unlocks new quests organically, not through any bracketed rankings.
Sorry, he had Sonic in his inventory? Thank you for the follow. Riki?
For these fights, and they are usually for monster subspecies or elder dragons. Do not feature. Why not combine the goals together? Though it should be noted that some quests do not feature subquests, and they are usually for monster subspecies or elder dragons. For these fights, the client only wants one thing done, the destruction of a single dangerous monster.
Jesus.
The player unlocks new quests organically,
I don't know where you saw that.
not through any bracketed ranking system, but rather through assisting the village and receiving new client requests as the player completes greater challenges.
Yeah.
The player might not even
huge.
realize they are partaking in an urgent quest, because they don't call it an urgent quest. It's much less video game-ish, and it's more organic. On top of the quests functioning differently...
That's a fair thing to enjoy about this game. Like, that's fair. That they've kind of, like, kept the idea of, like, urgents and key quests, I think. I think that's what he's saying. But, like, you don't necessarily realize that's what they are, and it's more organic. And so it feels less gamey. That's fair to like that. But Monster Hunter 1's a very gamey game. It's not like Monster Hunter wasn't like that already, you know? Yeah, World has assignments, right? Like World doesn't have urgents and shit. It has assignments. There's an assignment you have to take part in. It's more based in like you're actually doing something. So like I don't know if this whole thing is to say that like the series stopped doing this, because it didn't. And its core has always been not survival based, but more of like an arcadey game, in my opinion. I've always thought of it like that.
The variety and choice of quests the player can partake in is tied to an equally unique day-night cycle and season cycle. Monster Hunter 2 DOS introduced a new system where it will transition from day to night in real time.
And people were going to look them up anyway.
And whenever the player travels on a quest...
You know what? Everybody looked them up anyway. Everybody looked them up anyway. Everybody went to GameFAQs and was like, what the fuck do I do? And you know what? The developers were like, everyone looked them up anyway. Let's just tell them. This is stupid. You know? It's insane.
The locale will also be noticeably day or night. Usually it only lasts about the time of one quest, about 30 minutes. So when the player returns to the village, it will usually have switched from day to night, or night to day. I haven't properly touched on the game's home village, so I'll do that quickly.
Jumbo Village!
It's called Jumbo Village. It's a quaint tropical village with a handful of villagers. each with a lot of visual character. They are more lively than Monster Hunter 1's villagers, and they remind me of Monster Hunter 3 Try's villagers. The blacksmith is funny. She's this tiny woman who uses an oversized hammer to forge the player's equipment, but will also run down to the lower level to serve as the armory as well. The guild representative is this girl from the guild. She gives the quests. She's the same one you'll see in Portable 2nd or Generations. The traveling old lady with the big backpack will show up from time to time. There's this funny large fish man that the player can arm wrestle. The village's chief is always running from person to person. I think
Rise also. I also agree. Rise would key quests perfectly.
Everyone gathers around the quest
Have an assortment of them
it's
and
nice
let you choose which ones you want to do. Perfect gameplay experience for a Monster Hunter game.
It makes sense for them to relax after the sun is set. I find it refreshing to see Monster Hunter attempting to make these NPCs feel like they are actually living a life and not just standing around. The handler in Monster Hunter World is always just sitting and eating all day and all night long. Back on topic, the village is also affected by...
What are the other characters? Did I miss that? What are the other characters doing?
...personalities at different times of the day. It makes sense for them to relax after the sun is set.
Oh, so they do different things
during the day. I find it refreshing to see Monster Hunter attempting to make these NPCs feel like they are actually living a life and not just standing around.
Okay.
The handler in Monster Hunter World...
Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Certain characters go off and do things at nighttime instead of daytime. Do they do that in Monster Hunter 1? I feel like they don't. I feel like they don't do that. Do they? Hear me out. Okay, so this is a dose-specific thing that he's talking about right now, which is fine. He can, like, talk about all the things that are unique to dose specifically that he likes. But I'm pretty sure they do that in Try too. Like, the village elder moves around all the time. And, like, Junior's always in the same spot, but you need him to be. And the guild person's in the same spot because you need her to be. And well, 3 removed nighttime, but the elder still moves around, I'm pretty sure. They still added that variety, I think. Anyway, my point is that like that's the issue right now with this video, is that a lot of the stuff that they're talking about is unique to dose, or like these are things that like these are like little mild like things about the world of the game that he appreciated, and that's fine. But many of the other games have done that, and many of the other, like, not many, but like the other games have done that, and they have flip-flopped between what is the best style, and different directors make different decisions for that. That it doesn't matter. It also says nothing about the thesis. The thing he's talking about right now says nothing about his thesis, like, at all. Nothing. Like, he's talking about kind of more immersive factors in the village that he likes that are unique to specifically this game and not the first game, which is the first game is bundled in with the second to be part of his thesis. So this just is not, this is a completely arbitrary and redundant topic to be bringing up currently.
Is always just sitting and eating all
also
day.
Fuck you, Jacob. I'm just kidding, Jacob, but like, fuck you, leave her out of this.
Day and all night long. Back on topic, the village is also affected by the changing seasons, which are also consistently transitioning in real time. The summer season is followed by the winter season, and then it finishes with a breeding or harvest season. I found that a whole year would go by over a playtime of 8 hours, naturally if you don't skip it, which seems like a lot of time, but then again, this is Monster Hunter. It typically takes at least 100 hours to complete every quest per title. During the breeding season, the village becomes more lively. Actually, the music changes depending on the season. It's all constantly transitioning. The season cycle never returned in any game, except maybe Frontier, but I don't know a lot about Frontier.
Okay. I was about to say this. I was about to say
the
this.
day-night cycle return in Monster Hunter 3,
no.
But it was mostly inconsequential to that game, and it was removed
from Monster
Hunter 3G.
Wait, is he gonna say it?
It was absent for most of...
He didn't say it. Mogul Woods has a similar mechanic. Not necessarily a day and night cycle, but it has a forecast. And that forecast can not only show you what big monsters are going to be in when you go inside, but it also has sub things that are like the seasons from the previous game. So like breeding, herbivores breeding and stuff like that. That it's basically what he's talking about.
Generation 4.
So it's not DOS specific.
It's back in Monster Hunter.
I think it's also in 3U, but you choose if you go into the day and night cycle in 3U, and they tied that to day is low rank and night is high rank.
World, but it's inconsequential, and in Rise, it's also basically gone. It's never nighttime in the village. When I say inconsequential, it's because in Monster 2 DOS, the current season and time of day has a direct impact on what quests the player can partake in.
Cool. That's cool that's a thing. Again, wasn't part of Monster Hunter 1. So, like, I guess he's seeing this as Monster Hunter DOS is Monster Hunter 1 with these added things without changing what Monster Hunter 1 was, I guess. I think that's kind of what he's going for. But again, it's just like, a lot changed, man. A lot of stuff changed in DOS. It feels just watching this video, it feels very different from Monster Hunter 1.
During the summer, the desert map is unavailable because it's just too hot. Likewise, with the Snowy Mountains map, during the winter, it's too cold.
And again, some of the stuff that he's saying was like in DOS and then gone was reworked slightly in another game and then removed. They didn't like it, you know?
So the player just cannot go there. Certain monsters hibernate during the winter, and other monsters only appear at night. Some maps...
It is about Monster Hunter 1. It's about Monster Hunter 1 and Monster Hunter 2, even though it's mostly about Monster Hunter 2.
Change drastically at night. In the swamp, it stops raining and poisonous liquids begin to appear, which serve as an environment.
Wait, that's cool. Did they not do that before?
In the swamp, other monsters only appear at night. Some maps change drastically at night. In the swamp, it stops raining and poisonous liquids begin to appear, which...
The poisonous liquids aren't there during the day? Yeah, that's a huge thing. Exactly. Like, that's perfect. The game developers, they remove stuff and then they bring back stuff and they rework stuff and they put it back in and they take it out. Every game's like that. Every game's like that. DOS isn't special in that regard. It's only at night and it happens on Freedom 2/Unite. Oh. So this is just another thing that was in the next game. It just wasn't specifically tied to a dynamic day and night cycle.
Serve as an environmental hazard. In the desert, it's cold at night, so the player will need to bring hot drinks instead of cold drinks.
Yes,
and the cave zone
that is still a thing.
Gets flooded with water, so it becomes inaccessible. The volcano gets violent.
That's still a thing. Not that specific one. I don't know about that one. Even 4 Ultimate has changes to the map with day and night cycles. You go in like in this, I think it's Dunes, or no, what's the 4U map? Is it Dunes? But like there's a passage that only opens up during nighttime.
At night, so certain paths are just completely blocked off. Hornetars tend to appear more often at night, so if the player wishes to get their carbs, they'll have better luck at night. The herbs used for making potions are only available during the day. The player is even less likely to find honey in the winter. There's so many, the list just keeps going on.
A lot of this stuff is in the next games. They're just not all tied to the same mechanic.
The game wants the player to learn these particulars and properly prepare for them, like it's a strange survival game.
Yeah, exactly.
Ultimately, this creates a unique
That's a very
experience
drastic
that has
example,
the player
though.
choosing quests based on a variety of criteria,
Like
rather
one of the
than
first
just
times we've ever
selecting the
seen
key
that.
quests to gain the next hunter rank level. Monster hunting is more organic and less like a modern Monster Hunter grind. Every quest is on a schedule and will eventually become temporarily unavailable as the cycles continue. The player can only do the same quest so many times before it becomes unavailable, due to a season change, or they just run out of resources for items, making it difficult to grind or farm for a monster. Since certain maps are only available at certain...
I think like you can sum up the entire video right now in that, and I think he already said this, but like Jacob just almost similarly to like how I'm not super appreciative of the direction that we went starting in Gen 5. Jacob doesn't like how the Portable series was so influential because it literally is what put the game on the map in Japan. It's just like you could almost say that Monster Hunter didn't like become alive until freedom. Like that was it. Like that was like, this is the game now. I get it. Like it was super influential. Like it was crazy. You can swap them for a price. Yeah, I will say like the locking players out based on the season, not a fun mechanic. Like I don't like that. And it wasn't in the first game. So we are now talking about artificially limiting the player in the second game when we didn't do it in the first game. And that somehow makes this the last true game, which I don't fully agree with. Like I kind of like see where he goes with some of these, but like a lot of it feels like, hey Karas, a lot of it feels like I liked this mechanic they put into the game and I think it benefited the game, which is fair. And the fact that this mechanic didn't make it into the game later, even though it wasn't in the first game, I think changed the trajectory of the series forever, you know? Which isn't true. That's not what happened. It was much more gradual than that. And each game adds and takes away things. The most drastic we saw it wasn't the portable series. The most drastic we saw it was Monster Hunter 5. Or World. Here's the thing, though. You can pay to shift the seasons and daytime whenever you want, and the sum is very, very small. And if you make use of this, the game has zero differences from Freedom 2. Yeah. So, like, it's like even the developers knew that this was, like, a very arbitrary thing just kind of for aesthetic purposes, and then let you bypass it. Like,
times in the year, the player will have to stock up on resources while they have the chance.
yes, there is a balance
This all
between
plays
quality
into
of
the
life and
philosophy
immersion.
of deliberate action.
Zamza, thank you.
A lot of people have talked about this idea of deliberate action
follow.
of the older games. It's when you in the combat, it's more focused on like you have to know where your placement is. But Monster Hunter isn't just about the combat, and I think that Monster Hunter 2 DOS really emphasizes that. Monster Hunter 2 DOS emphasizes that every decision matters.
I think
the quests the
I
player
think that's
chooses
good.
must be deliberate and planned out. If the
Yes.
player takes too long, the seasons will change.
Yes,
The
but
player
then I
is
can
given
just...
the option to sleep and skip a day or even a whole season, but it costs money. Money is very scarce in this game, and by charging the player, the game is indirectly punishing them.
How much does it cost? How much Zenny does it cost to skip a season? No way. Off topic, I don't use Twitch often, but I love your content. You put me onto Frontier after all. Let's go. Thank you, Zamza. Thank you for the kind words. I agree. I think 800 Zenny is going to be a lot in the early game. Amy disagrees. I can see it. Listen, playing Try, this is still a thing you have to deal with in Try. Playing Try, the first like 3-4 ranks of low rank, I am broke. I am like $0. All my money goes into like making equipment, getting like very basic necessities, and then your income skyrockets after that. So I definitely believe that it is a factor at the very beginning of this game. I will say that. Perfect. I will say, look, DOS, yes, at the very beginning of this game, there is a huge aspect of preparation and like needing to like squeeze the most out of your money. And guess what? It's the exact fucking same thing in Try. It's the exact same thing. You have to squeeze the absolute most out of what you got because you're not making a lot of money for those first couple of ranks. And then it's not like that. Then it's done. Now you're making money, and you don't care about any of those mechanics again. You don't gather for herbs anymore because you can just pay to buy the potions. You don't gather for honey anymore because you make it in the farm. You know, it's the same thing in this game. Eventually, you're making enough money in this game that you can just skip the seasons where it doesn't matter. Pretty much. It depends how much you play.
for skipping. The game does not want the player to...
Like, if you play a lot of multiplayer content and you just go, like, hard on the multiplayer with your friends, which is super, super easy, you'll make a ton of money. Like, if Jacob here played the... Which, I found this really weird, because, like, Jacob was he's talking about the solo experience a lot, while also saying that the solo experience is basically just, like, an add-on to the true multiplayer experience. But if you go play the multiplayer experience with people, you're going to have more money than you know what to do with. Because all of the content is designed to be played with people between 2 to 3 people. About. Bringing 4 people is overpowered. That's just how, like, every Monster Hunter game has been until, like, World, I want to say. Because I think they scale it to 4 people. But it's always been, like, 2 to 3 is the expectation. So, like, if you play the game the way it's designed, you're never going to experience all of this stuff in single player. You know?
skip. It wants them to take advantage of every present moment. Like in the later games,
Amy's
villagers will
playing it
have
right now.
requests. Either quests that unlock story-related elements, or item deliveries that upgrade the village amenities. These are wonderful for
I like
the immersion
getting out
and
of
simulation aspects.
Yo!
Rather than completing...
oh my god, they do it that... you know what? Monster Hunter Frontier is based off of Dose, right? So like they do the exact same thing with your room, where like the walls fall down. I love that.
quests for clients the player never sees, these quests are all directly from the hunter's neighbors in the village. A villager is directly asking the player to hunt a monster or give them direct supplies.
EXO, I cannot imagine actively playing the multiplayer and doing content a lot and not having 800 Zenny consistently. I couldn't imagine that. That seems odd to me. But I mean, we're gonna find out. Though we're not playing multiplayer in Dose.
This is a feature that has been carried over into current games, such as Monster Hunter 4.
It is a good use
of
of memory.
deliveries
Good call.
aren't as
I agree.
personal when they aren't direct. Some of these requests, like the seasons,
You're
will
gonna get
change
to.
if one takes too long. A villager may request
Yeah, gear does cost a lot. Gear costs a lot in Try too. I remember playing. Gear costs a lot in 4 Ultimate, man. Like gear is always going to be your biggest money sink, for sure, 100%. After you get Power Charm and Armor Charm. But like I'm basing this off of Try, like as like the earliest, maybe Freedom Unite, but like you make bonkers money. Like we're talking about 800 Zenny. We're talking about 800 Zenny. Let's say I needed to switch from one season. I needed to do 3 rests or something. That's like 816. That's 2,400 Zenny, man. That's crazy. And like eventually you're just gonna have materials that you don't use. You can sell those. Some people don't like selling their materials. Some people don't like that. You can do that.
For example, Cephadrome Fang during the summer season, which happens to be the exact season that the player cannot access the desert and thus cannot hunt a Cephadrome and obtain a Cephadrome Fang. This logically makes sense. The client would be in desperate need of an item that is temporarily impossible to get. In current Monster Hunter titles, players typically hoard an endless number of items, because you expect that at some point you'll probably need
Is this cat on a Kieran and flying?
to use those
Is that a
200
thing
small
you can
monster
get?
bones sitting in the item box. The Monster Hunter titles from
If
Generation
a mechanic is easily avoidable, did it need to exist? Sometimes just having those mechanics and having them be avoidable in certain capacities is fine. Like the mechanic's still kind of nice to have. Sometimes.
3 and onwards do not punish the player for holding on to items, and there's very little restriction. In Monster Hunter World, the item box will continue to gain pages as the player gains items. In Monster Hunter 2 DOS, the player starts with only 1 page in their item box, and item stacks max out at the same number they normally would in the item pouch. Meaning, if potions only
10?
stack up to 10 in the item pouch, potions will only stack to groups of 10 in the item box, not 99 or 1,000 or whatever it ends up going to in World. I've never reached the max. Because items stack so quickly, they'll usually take up more room compared to the other titles, and eventually the player will run out of room in their item box.
That's excessive. That's excessive. Like there's a balance. Dose is excessive on the low end and World is excessive on the high end. We want some sort of interaction with the box. And so where do we find that? And Try, for example, found it by making you have stacks of 99 and allowing you to purchase upgrades that would make your box bigger. This is excessive. I would not call this like a good design.
The game requires the player to make a conscious effort to conserve their item box space. One can tell this game was made by the same people who made Resident Evil. With the game...
And Resident Evil... Wait, do they let you upgrade your box in DOS? Did I miss that? Because like Resident Evil lets you upgrade your inventory.
Knowing the player is bound to sell some of their items to create room in the item box, I theorized that the game was balanced around selling items as a mandatory function to earn enough money for the cost.
Like, look at this. Hold on.
Bound to sell some of their items to create room in the item box, I theorized that the game was balanced around...
How do I do this? Oop, too far. Dragon Tails are 200 zenny. Proteins 25, combo book. Okay, he's on combo books. I saw something at like 1500. Where'd the volume go?
On funds extremely often in Monster 2 DOS compared to other titles in the series. Why is that? Is the quest reward money lower in Monster 2 DOS? Well, actually, quest reward money is a bit more complex in Monster 2 DOS. Hunting reward money is often tied to the seasons and the time of day. Different times of the year have different reward costs for hunting different monsters. Making money fast may restrict what monsters the player would rather hunt the materials for. There is a hunting board that provides the daily bounty values per monster. With them constantly fluctuating, the game is attempting to illustrate the monsters as being bounties, and there are specific values in hunting them. The clients want certain monsters hunted at certain times. Better rewards are granted when it's more urgent.
Gen Prey height is 560. You guys can't complain about money if that's true.
Again, this is an organic system.
Insane.
These monster reward values are actually separate from quest reward values. When the quest is completed, the player gets reward money for completing the quest.
That's an awesome mechanic. That's super cool.
Items sold, and finally, what the monster reward value is. This is a wonderful addition because it promotes the player to continue trying even if they faint. Fainting has no effect on the monster reward, only the quest reward. And the monster reward is almost always far higher than the quest reward. The player is still rewarded for their work, which is welcome when the game has the player scrapping for funds anywhere they can get it. Back on track now.
I really don't believe he's scrapping for funds wherever he can get it. Like, I don't understand how he's playing the game in a way where he's scrapping for funds. Anyway, I'm going to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Oh, did I leave my mic on? Shit. My bad.
why was I running out of money frequently in Monster Hunter 2 DOS? First, let's compare the hunting reward prices for hunting monsters between Monster Hunter 2 DOS and Monster Hunter World. Let's use a low-rank offline
Leave me
Rathian as
alone.
an
Let me
example.
piss in peace.
In Monster 2 DOS, Rathian's reward is roughly 4,500 Zenny. That's including the crest reward value and a median for the monster's reward value. In Monster Hunter World, Rathian's reward is a flat 4,300 Zenny. So, about the same. I checked others, and the numbers seem to be roughly line up between the two games, so hunting reward prices haven't changed much, regardless of the unique system implemented in Monster 2 DOS. So why was I still low on funds? Are the prices for items higher? For a quick comparison, in Monster 2 DOS a potion is worth 66 Zenny, and in Monster Hunter World it is also worth 66 Zenny. You can check this with all the games, they're always worth 66 Zenny. I checked other items and they all seem to match as well. They've actually remained very consistent throughout the Monster Hunter series.
Okay.
So then why am I running out of money?
Why
Are the
are you?
prices for upgrading weapons higher? Well, let's compare the base Iron Longsword.
Okay.
Comparing the initial creation to the upgrade that requires Dragonite Ore, as that's the highest it'll go in offline low rank. In Monster 2 DOS, it goes Iron Katana, which is 3,150 Zenny to forge, Iron Katana Grace, which is 5,580 Zenny to upgrade, Iron Katana Gospel, which is 9,420 Zenny to upgrade,
Okay.
Eager Cleaver, which is 18,980 Zenny to upgrade, Devil Slicer, which is 28,560 Zenny to upgrade.
Sure.
In total, it takes 65,690 Zenny to complete 4 upgrades to the Iron Longsword in Monster 2 DOS. Let's compare that
Okay.
to World. In Monster Hunter World, it goes Iron Katana 1, which is 100 Zenny to forge, Iron Katana 2, which is 200 Zenny to upgrade,
Okay.
Iron Katana 3, which is 1,000 Zenny to upgrade,
Okay.
Iron Grace 1, which is 2,000 Zenny to upgrade,
Okay.
and Iron Grace 2, which is 4,000.
Okay. Hold on. Deflation? Hold on. Where's the iron path? There's no iron sword and try. You get the bone blade, I think. So we'll use the bone blade as the example. To make the bone blade, just to make the bone blade for the longsword and try, okay? Hear me out. Hear me out. I'm going to do the math right now, okay? To make the bone blade, the first weapon for the longsword, it costs 12,100 Zenny. In comparison to the iron katana, which is 3,150. The bone blade is the first longsword you can get. You can't actually purchase a longsword. So on top of the materials, the first one is, I mean, someone can go in and confirm it. I'm looking at a graph. So I don't know. The bone blade is 12,100. So we're comparing that to the iron katana, that's 3,150. I'm making it a bit flawed. What can I compare it to? What should I compare it to, please? You know, okay, sure, fair. Let's do greatsword. Sure, fine. Maybe it's different. Oh, good, that starts at iron. Okay, perfect. Okay, yeah, it's actually cheaper. Okay, fine. Iron sword, 500. Iron sword is 500. I'm doing greatsword because greatsword is technically longsword. Iron sword plus is 1950. I think we are gonna see deflation here. What? Get out of here. Clear this. There we go. Sorry, 500 plus 1950 plus 30 plus 78, 70. Okay, so yeah, that's cheaper. That's 13,000. Is that true? That is cheaper. Wait, you know what? Wait, let's compare something else. Let's compare something else. So we're saying for the first 4 upgrades, Iron Sword to 1, 2, 3, 4 to Buster's Sword. Okay. I'm gonna check 2 things. Give me 1 second. I want to check something. MH dose, great sword, weapon tree. Okay. Okay. 336, 336. 384, 384. These all seem consistent. And then the Ravager, the Buster Sword Plus. Buster Sword Plus does 528. Ravager Blade does 528. Ah, is that what they did? Hold on. So to get to 528, I would be spending the same. This goes to Strategic Blade, Ravager Blade, Lacerator Blade, and then the Mutilator Blade goes to 912. 49,000. I think the difference. I gotta see. Look up Monster Hunter deflation. So yeah, like I'm looking at the dose tree. If we look at Iron Sword and Iron Sword, I don't have a price for this one. Is there? Do I have one with prices? I don't. I think. I don't know what the prices for the Greatsword are. Iron Sword in dose and Tri are the same attack power. Attack power, defense. What's 50 ice? What do you mean ice? Does the Iron Sword have ice damage? Or does it give you defense resistance? What are you talking about? This tree is really weird. I don't like this tree. Iron Sword gives 288. Iron Sword gives 288. Iron Sword Plus gives 336 on both. Buster Sword gives 384 on both. Buster Blade. Wait. So see, this is what happens. We get to Buster Sword, which gives 384 on both. And then in Dose, it goes to Ravager Blade. And in Tri, it goes to Buster Sword Plus. Both of those do 528. And then we get to Ravager Blade on Tri. And we get to Lacerator Blade on Dose. And those give 6. Oh, wait. Yeah. Wait. Lacerator Blade. Okay, so the same tier. And we're doing more damage now in Dose. And then we go down another one to Tactical Blade, and we're doing more damage in Dose. So I think that the money distribution, not necessarily in World. Not necessarily in World. I'm not comparing World, but I think what ends up happening is there's more options in Tri, and so they start cheaper, but then you work your way up to maybe paying about the same. So what we'll do is we'll look at it goes from Iron Sword to Strategic Blade for the first tree. So if we look at the first tree, which gets it to 864 damage with no element, then we can go to Tri and get to 864 damage with no element and see how much that costs. Let's see how much it costs to get us to that same amount, right? So I don't have prices for fucking... Maybe Amy can get the prices for Iron Sword to Strategic Blade or something. I don't know. So it'd be 500 plus 1950 plus 3030 plus 7870 plus 10450 plus... Again, it could still be more expensive in Dose. I'm just curious. 10450 2017 plus 29 470. 29, 470. So that's 73,000 total. This is Greatsword. We're doing Greatsword. I don't have the prices for the upgrades on the tree for the dose version. I'm curious how much they cost. To get to 864 damage in try, it costs 74,000 zenny. 73,444. No, 73,440 zenny. And I want to know how much that is in dose. But I can't. Maybe this site has it. reignoftherathalos.com. No, this site is dead. skyofcrimson.com. No, that's gone too. Yeah, link that please. 4 used 10k to get to 864. This has the, where did you see the prices on this? Did I miss it? Maybe if I click each one, it'll show me. Yeah, that's what I'm assuming, Elsie, but we want to know for sure. You click the weapon and then you're able to tell the price. Okay, cool. Thank you. All right, so 73,440. Remember that number. 73,440. Okay? So we go to Iron Sword. Cost, you have to buy it for 2640. This is in dose plus we're trying to get to 864, so I'll need to open this. This. That took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here it took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, you know what? I think it's just more expensive in dose. It takes from Iron Sword to Strategic Blade. That's 8 weapons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8 weapons. To get from Iron Sword to Lacerator Blade, which is 864, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think it's just more expensive in dose to get to the same spot. How about comparing it to MH1? I think it's more expensive in MH1. I think Exo said that. Okay, I don't think this. I think it is just more expensive in dose, because like that's 2640. I can just compare each thing. So it's 2640 to 1910 plus 1910 plus 2750 plus 5320 plus 8850. So we're at 21,000 plus 15,700. Wait. Oh, that's a huge jump. Holy shit. Wow, that's a huge jump. No, he's right on this one. He's right on this one for sure. So we had 73,440 for the first game. Sorry, for try. To get to that power level, for dose it would cost 142,590. So that's double, over double, I think. That's crazy. So I mean, and you're paying for armor, so there is going to be a huge difference in equipment for sure. But I still don't believe that you're going to have an issue with dealing with paying 800 zenny. I think you can still always do that, especially if the Gypsaros. Someone said they sold Gypsaros hide for 560. Actually, right? I think that's what we said, right? Genpray Gen Prey for 560. That's what you're saying. So if Gen Prey sells for 560 and Great Jaggy Hide sells for Great Jaggy Hide sells for 260, I think that's where the balance is. We'd have to do more calculations. Can we just look at Jaggy Hide? Jaggy Hide. In MH3U, Jaggy Hide sells for 25 Zenny. There's no way the Gen Prey Hide sold for 560. There's no way. Let me see. This is in GU, so it doesn't count. I want to see an MH dose. Has to include dose. Wait, Amy, how much can you sell Gen Prey Hide for? You have the game. Okay, so it's more likely that it's Gendrome, but I want to be sure. We'll do Gen Prey Gendrome. See if Amy can tell us. We're gonna get through like an hour of this a stream. The hide does drop from the drone. Okay. Is there Gendrome hide? I wish I had the game, because like I mean I have the game, but like I don't have any items. I haven't started it. 560 Zenny for, okay, so for Gendrome Hide, it's 560 Zenny. And okay. It's double the cost to get to the same spot weapon-wise and try. If I play Dose, I have to spend double the amount of Zenny. Gendrome only yields 2 cards. I mean, that's something we can also add to it, maybe. But Great Jaggy Hide is 300 Zenny less. If Gendrome Hide is 560, Great Jaggy Hide is 260. That's 300 Zenny difference. So if we're really going to compare how the economy works in one game to the other game, we have to like consider all the factors. How much are the items how much are the monster materials I'm selling for? If the quest reward costs are the same, what are the monster material costs, etc. Weapon and armor costs were a lot lower in the older games, however, were a lot higher in the older games. However, back then we usually traded to make a lot less gear. These costs were fine because you would really only make multiple sets if you had the money and wanted to change things up. In the newer games, especially 5th gen, it's worth it to make multiple sets in every part of the game. Yeah, the economy has changed. Like we're not disagreeing with that. The economy has definitely changed. How people make armor sets has changed, etc. Thank you for the follow. What do you get about Great Baggy? Gendrome is more akin to Baggy. Well, okay, sure. Sure. It's 300 Zenny. So only a 40% premium. Or 40 Zenny premium. Wasn't he taking into consideration that from a developer standpoint, this was the Monster Hunter game? It was the great Monster Hunter. It had no plan for G release, so it works on the plan of 2 sets of level progression. Yeah, that's true. Like I said, well, Gendrome's also usually seen later. We usually see Velocidrome first. But a great baggy costs 300 Zenny. So the difference is minimal. So my point is that he shouldn't be as broke as he's saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Manage your money better, Jacob. There's a lot of factors that go into the comparison that he's making. And while I do believe that his comparison with World and Rise would probably show that it's much cheaper to make the stuff and it's much easier to make money in that game and you'll never be broke, you cannot make that same comparison to games like Try and 4 Ultimate.
Zenny to upgrade. In total, that's 6,300 Zenny to complete foraging and 4 upgrades to the Iron Longsword in Monster.
Yeah, and for a game where he doesn't have to grind, he has to for a game that doesn't facilitate grinding or something like that, he seems to be grinding for money a lot.
Hunter World. I think it's fair to say that we found the culprit. Let's compare these numbers.
You're comparing it to World. You're comparing it to World, which is such a different game. Compare it to Try. Compare it to Monster Hunter 1. Compare it to Try. Please. Please do a fairer comparison.
Reward money we get from monsters. How many Rathian does one need to hunt in each respective game to complete?
Oh, you are not being fair here. You are not being fair here. How much is Rathian hide and dose? Or Rathian scale or whatever it is? Webbing even. How much is Rathian webbing and dose? Because this is not fair at all. If I kill 10 Rathians in Try and I make 2,000 Zenny off the materials, just as a hypothetical, and I kill 5 Rathians in Try and I make 2,000 Zenny, and for selling materials, and 5 Rathians in Dose and I make 20,000 Zenny. Come on.
These upgrades. Well,
he's not, and just because I saw this in chat, he's not saying he only does this. He's just saying he's using it as a measurement.
If a Rathian in Monster Hunter DOS gives you 4,500 Zenny, and a Rathian in Monster Hunter World gives you 4,300 Zenny, that means in Monster Hunter 2 DOS, the player must hunt roughly 15 Rathian to fully upgrade their longsword. In Monster Hunter World, the player must hunt roughly 2 Rathian to fully upgrade their longsword. Yeah,
This isn't a fair comparison at all.
I
don't think he was doing this purposefully, just to be clear. Like, I'm not saying that, but I just think this was a lackluster comparison and wasn't there wasn't full thought put into like how this should actually be compared.
severe difference here. And don't forget, the player will probably end up blowing all their money on pickaxes because they break so frequently in this game. And to fully upgrade this Iron Katana, Monster 2 DOS asks for
sell your monster materials. Sell your monster materials.
Total of 12 whetstones, 35 iron ore, 62 earth crystal, 61 macalite ore, 5 dragonite ore, and 8 electro sacks. Hope you like hunting Kezu. Just to be fair though, in Monster Hunter World it asks for 8 iron ore, 2 earth crystal, 2 coral crystal, 17 macalite ore, and 7 dragonite.
What does that have to do? What does that have to do with anything? The game has been. We were just talking about money. We were talking about money. What does this have to do with anything? 650 Zenny for a Rathian shell. How much is it in Try? Oh, it'll probably show me Kirineko for 3U. 650. Oh, that's actually the same. Interesting. So some things are similar and some things aren't. He's exposing how relevant the subquests is? What do you mean? The money he is making for each Rathian is a lie because he is exposing how relevant subquest is, and due to the nature of no quests and gathering on your own, the income increases for each quest should be higher.
Ore. It's a severe difference, once again, and that's only...
He's talking, like, I don't like that he's talking about material gathering right now, because... Are you gonna tell, like, first of all, we're talking about money, so this has nothing to do with money. But are you gonna sit there and tell me that you would prefer to make the same set, gather 62 earth crystal for a low rank set, 62 earth crystal, and 12 whetstones? Like, again, there's a balance here. There's a certain level where we do have to realize when things are too obtuse. You know? Having hot and cold drinks, my opinion, not too obtuse. me having to collect 15 Dragonite ore to make one longsword upgrade, kind of obtuse. That's in Try. That's in one of my favorite games. That's too much, in my opinion. You know? Like, there's certain design choices we have to decide are just too stupid. You know?
Counting the ore. There are other materials needed, but my point was regarding the pickaxes anyway, and the pickaxes are of infinite use in Monster Hunter World. You do not need to buy them. It's just part of the player's permanent
his
inventory.
point was that he runs out of pickaxes
I feel
a
like
lot.
I actually spent more money on just the pickaxes than I actually did to upgrade the weapon. Returning to my point before this tangent, does Monster 2 DOS make it mandatory to sell items?
Do they have a set in this game that lets your pickaxes last longer? Do they have armor skills in this game? Like build a gathering set, man.
The item box? Absolutely. If the player hasn't upgraded the item box, which only increases to 4 pages by the way, it'll fill up in no time and the player will be forced to start selling items. Now, does Monster 2 DOS expect the player to regularly sell items in order to ensure they have enough funds for equipment upgrades? I'm fairly certain. Yes, actually, I think it does expect the player to do this.
Yes.
It's not a mandatory form
Yes, it
of
does
earning
expect
money.
that of
The
you.
player can always hunt more monsters for profit instead, but the monster rewards always end up having a higher sell value than the quest rewards money.
Yes.
Now this is an interesting discussion because a lot of this script I wrote before Monster Hunter Rise, and Monster Hunter Rise isn't quite complete yet, there's still the updates coming, and it is something to note that I have found myself actually running out of money in this game. So it's interesting that Monster Hunter Rise returned to the low money standard that the old games used to have. That's a completely different discussion though, and maybe I should make a Monster Hunter Rise review, but anyway, back to my script. I always wondered why the game would give the player 2 minutes to decide what to do with the monster rewards after completing a quest, when the only thing I would ever do with them is
Why'd you say damn it, Gaijin? All I'm saying about this thing he's pointing out where he's like, oh wait, like Monster Hunter Rise does this. So that's like, you need to stop at that point where you're like, wait a second, maybe certain aspects of these games come and go, and every game is different in its own way, you know? And something like your money management has never been such a huge focus in this game. The game has always expected you to have money, because if you hunt and you carve, you can sell those things to make money, you know? And you can do that in Rise too. So maybe the argument that this game is the beacon of like whatever the true core thing of Monster Hunter was isn't holding up as much as you would like it to now, because you're seeing that a lot of the things that you appreciate in DOS have managed to make their way into various other games throughout the series. And at that point we can say that this is not the last true Monster Hunter game. You know, this is the beginning of Monster Hunter, where they were still figuring shit out, you know? Like, Monster Hunter 2 DOS came out in what? Was it 2004? 2008? 2006. 2006, right? Came out in 2006. Let's look at a list of Capcom games. Not that this isn't really me. This isn't saying anything crazy, but I want to by year. I want to say by year, because like what other Capcom game came out in 2006? Capcom published games 2023, 2020. Take me back. Let's go to 2020. 2000, 1984. Take it to 21. Can I order this by year, please? Yeah, money becomes an issue in Rise and Endgame for sure. I don't think it was an issue when I was progressing at all. But you know what? You get to progress with like the base set through the entirety of the game. Yeah, I would say the modern MH game got like it started its true stride. Like everything was like figured out for the most part in Freedom 2 and Freedom Unite. I want to know like Capcom Games 2006. Capcom Games 2006. Dead Rising? Okami? Interesting. God Hand? Okay, never mind. They perfected games in 2006. I don't know what was going on. Maybe this is the perfect Monster Hunter game. They made God Hand in 2006. Was that Capcom? Holy shit, it was published by Capcom. It was made by Clover Studio. Never mind. Never mind. I'm wrong.
Is send all to item box. They even added this as an option in Monster World and Rise. You'll notice in Monster 2 DOS, send to box is not an option.
Yeah, that sucks.
The player is only allowed to take the items directly and place them directly in their item pouch. If their item pouch is full, they are required to choose which items to take and which items to sell. I believe they put a timer there for multiplayer, so the player wouldn't waste 5 minutes deciding which items were more valuable when the other players were waiting back in the gathering hall. If the item pouch was full, the player may have to decide to sacrifice their potions just to take back a Rathian scale. In these scenarios, every decision matters. I theorize that the reason send to box was not an option in the first game was because it was intended to be that way. The developers aren't stupid. I legitimately think that the people at Capcom...
I'm not saying the developers are stupid. I'm not saying that. But I promise you they just did not think to add a ship to box option. Shut up, Tina. I promise you that they just didn't think of it. It takes a lot of like watching people play your game. It takes a lot of that to see the issues and figure out what needs to be changed. Not everything is a development decision. Like sometimes things you just never thought of.
Capcom aren't stupid. They make mistakes, but I don't think that, like, I'm pretty sure this is deliberate. Otherwise, they wouldn't have put it into the game. As I've made clear before, the item box space was very limited in these older titles. I can piece together the developers likely wanted the player to think about their items more carefully. Back in the older Monster Hunter titles, the number of different carved materials was also lower. There was actually more shared rewards between small monsters.
I'm bleaching my hair again and I'm dyeing it blonde soon, so we'll see.
And the larger monster counterparts. For example, if you carve a Velocidrome, the player is actually...
Maybe, I don't think he realized it at the point when he was writing this, but like you have to consider hindsight. You have to consider hindsight.
Very likely to just gain Velociprey materials. Velocidrome specific materials are rare. They are rare carves and can be obtained through capturing the monster. These animals share materials because they are the same animal. Besides, if the player is hunting Velocidrome, then likely they're also hunting Velociprey for the subquest reward. If there were more separate Velocidrome materials as well as the Velociprey materials, the item pouch would fill up faster. With less different items to fill up the item spots, means the item box needs less item spots, and the same for the item pouch. The game was built with the understanding that the player couldn't send items directly to their item box, and that their item pouch was limited in space.
Sure, but we don't know, like, if that is the case, we don't know all the reasons why that was. Maybe they hadn't thought of the fix for that yet. Or additionally, maybe so much memory was getting taken up on the disk through different means that they didn't have the means of letting you hold more stuff in your box. Like, you have to consider so many aspects of game development here. Like, there's memory management and stuff, things that they could perfect better when they came to the next game, you know? How they do textures, how they do models, how they like reuse assets to make more room to allow for more features. Yeah, the old games used to have to rotate quests. Like, that's crazy. There was such little memory, they couldn't list you all of the quests. So to something that feels, in my opinion, so obvious to being a memory issue, and then to complain or to state or make the argument that this was intended design for the survival simulation process is not purposefully ignorant, but ignorant, in my opinion. Like, you have to consider those things. We already knew those. Like, you don't have to be a game developer to know that those issues existed. We knew they existed.
Base. I'm certain this is deliberate. I call
Yeah,
Monster 2
no
DOS
internal
the
memory,
antithesis
exactly.
to 5th gen Monster Hunter, especially Monster Hunter World, and this is because nearly every unique system I've discussed and examples I've listed so far creates a very different game experience. Monster 2 DOS treats hunting as an organic experience where it shifts as the seasons change, and as a professional experience where player meets client demands as a contract worker and earns money. This causes me to genre Monster 2 DOS as more of a simulation game rather than an action game.
I wouldn't call it a simulation game, but I would call it a more hardcore role-playing experience, for sure. I would definitely say this game has a more hardcore role-playing experience.
Starting in Monster Hunter Portable 2nd, the player was able to send quest reward materials
Like,
directly
he is right. There is a difference in design in that aspect.
to their item box. This has been the norm ever since. I can completely understand why most players prefer to have the option there. I explore a number of quality of life changes in part 7 of this video, but for now I'll just say that many of the quality of life changes have, absolutely, definitely helped the overall player experience without affecting game balance or game immersion.
Yes, many
Why
of
does
them,
this game require
for
me
sure.
to pull
Like, even
items
I
out of
agree
the
with
item
that.
box to combine them if they are still right in front of the player character anyway? Why can't I return to my house if I have a quest selected? These changes would make logical sense in universe, and thus they don't break immersion, nor do they affect the game balance in any way.
No, I should
It's
be able to go
funny
in my
how
house.
even in Monster Hunter World, you still can't actually enter your home with a quest selected. So
Yeah, like, exactly. That's weird. like, that's them not fixing something, you know?
is sending items directly to the item box a quality of life change? Sure.
Yes.
I mean, now that the player typically has near unlimited room in their item box, it has no bearing on the game. However, back in Monster 2 DOS, the game was built around this and was intended to be this way. In Monster 2 DOS,
It's not. We don't know that. We don't know that. We don't know if it was intended to be that way or if it was a memory management issue. Because Try, the game that came immediately after this, allowed you to do that. And I'm pretty sure Freedom Unite allowed you to do that too. And Portable Third allowed you to do that. I don't know about Freedom. I don't know if Freedom let you do that. Like, we can't. I can't see a design decision like that and think that it was intended without the concept of it being a memory issue. Like, it was intended, sure, because it was a memory issue. Rather, it was an unintended, like, it was forced upon them because of memory.
the player has a single item box that requires them to manually organize all their items from a single location within their house. There's no other item boxes anywhere. They must manually bring quest rewards to their house and store them manually. What the player brings with them is what the player brings with them. In Monster Hunter World, the player has dozens of item boxes in every corner of the world that contain all their items at all times and requires no maintenance. It's automatically maintained. Items are sent directly to the item box automatically with minimal menu.
It's automatically maintained. You have auto sort in, I'm pretty sure, Freedom Unite. You definitely have it in Try. Like, you have it in DOS? You have auto sort in DOS? Bruh.
Navigation. So is one game better than the other? No. Don't make that the takeaway. They're very different experiences built for very different games. Is one easier to balance on a game design level? Perhaps. I don't know. Old school Monster Hunter is balanced knowing the player is limited on supplies. Monster Hunter World is balanced knowing the player has an incredible supply of everything ready at all times. To me, one seems more difficult to balance than the other, but I'm not a game designer. Playing Monster Hunter 2 DOS made me realize how much I stockpile resources in every other Monster Hunter titles. Why don't I sell items I'm not using? Is it human nature? In Monster 2 Dos, I had to change my perspective. I had to teach myself to be comfortable selling items, because I can always hunt the same monster again and just get the materials again.
It
the
really
cost to forge
is
new equipment and buy
frustrating
items are very high
he's not
compared to
taking
what the player
multiplayer into
earns through being a hunter.
consideration.
So if selling items is what I must do,
I don't think it's on
then
purpose.
Sure,
I think
I'll
it's
do
just
it.
missed.
Ultimately,
I
this
think
is
he
a
just missed this
simulation
idea.
game where hunting is the career. Monster 2 Dos revolutionized how I view my item box and item pouch in Monster Hunter. In this game, it's more of a survival inventory.
If you play this game in multiplayer, this is what happens. This is my assumed experience in Monster Hunter Dos multiplayer. I do a bunch of hunts with my friends. I make a ton of money and I have a ton of materials. And the only thing that happens within that is, because I don't need to worry about money really, is that I am annoyed at the fact that my box is always full. That's it. So all that mechanic has become is a hindrance. That is it. I literally, like, I'll be like, oh, I can't bring everything. This sucks. I did 5 hunts. I can't bring everything. Super annoying. I don't have to, so I end up selling it all or something. Like, it's not this crucial aspect to the game because he's only playing the game in solo. Like, he's not playing multiplayer at all, where, like, a lot of these wouldn't be issues, and the things that he likes would be issues.
Kind of like Minecraft in a way. These survival simulation
Minecraft jump
aspects
scare.
impacted the decisions I made on which quest to choose and how I spent each quest. I found myself gathering items every quest to make up for the items I consumed in previous quests. I found myself slaying Iodrome over and over again just because I actually wanted glue bugs or light crystals from the swamp, because it's not like there's a gathering quest I can go on that goes to the swamp. There just isn't one.
Yeah, that
I
sounds
always
like
wonder
ass.
why the game gives the
I
player
feel-
15 minutes out on a quest to slay the monster when
Like,
usually
is that how people feel when I'm like, yeah, I miss when, like, whetstones and pickaxes were finite. They're like, yeah, that sounds like ass. Like, no, like, I feel like it's hard to, like, be like, am I in what I feel is ass from his perspective? Is that equatable to, like, what people feel is ass from my perspective? You know, it's an interesting observation, bro. Like I think hot and cold drinks are cool. But I like, there's other things that I think, yeah, that was ass. They should have got rid of it. Hey, Dari.
it doesn't take longer than 10 to 20 minutes with average equipment and average skill. I've discovered that the intention...
I'm trying to be fair here, and I'm trying to think of something in old school that I don't like in new school. Like, I like how they made item management better in the newer games. Like, I think that was a good quality of life improvement. Like, the entire menuing system and stuff is easier and better. I like the multiple boxes. I like that boxes are everywhere. I'm not a big fan of camps. I don't like camps. Thank you for the follow, Alex. And I like expeditions. So, like, there's definitely things that I'm like, yeah, this made sense to, like, bring over, you know?
is to actually
I like the
spend
radial menu.
20 minutes of the quest just gathering items, combining potions, and cooking steak, not related to the main objective of the quest at all. I eventually had to train myself to be able to live without mega potions during the winter season, because of the scarcity of honey. Even if the player wasn't given the knowledge that honey wasn't available during winter, the game attempted to teach the player this fact by providing
Pay the 800 zenny and get out of winter. An 800 zenny cost in order to start doing quests that allow you to get honey. Not an issue.
insect husks during the winter when gathering at honey spots. I was always confused why item husks was even in the game. Why? Like, they do nothing and they have no value.
Insect husks.
Well, as it turns out, in Monster 2 DOS, they added insect husks in order to teach the player that gathering was futile during the winter, since all the bees are dead. Soon I learned that insect husks...
Did you get insect husks in Monster Hunter 1? Monster Hunter G? Hey, Galware, we're watching the infamous dose video. I'm gonna kill myself. Maybe there's maybe you only get them.
husks could actually be
How much do you think the cheapest Fatalis quest costs in MH1 Red? I don't know. Probably too much.
traded with the Veggie Elder, and you actually get honey that way. On rare occasions, I would actually do this during the winter season if I was in dire need of honey. Trading with the Veggie Elder actually became a common thing for me to do. Before the volcano was unlocked, it's a faster method to gain macalite ore than mining. Actually, the game requires the player to trade with the Veggie Elder at least once in the game in order to get a piece of the Ancient Tower book, which is required to unlock the final boss, the Lunastra fight. I know I've provided a bunch of personal experiences with the game, and that they hold little in this subjective discussion, but I hope that
the stream's almost over. We're ending in 5 minutes. It looks like we're going to be able to get about an hour per stream, so we'll do 2 more streams of this probably.
Narrative tangent on my Monster Hunter 2 DOS experience drives home my ultimate point.
I want to finish this part and then we'll call it there.
Monster 2 DOS pushes the player to have more nuance to their decisions, requiring the player to plan their hunts around the changing seasons and time of day. I believe the developers wanted the players to immerse themselves in the world like it's a simulation of reality.
Sure.
Because of these simulator aspects, the players...
I agree they want you to immerse yourself in the world somewhat within the single-player aspect of the game. But first and foremost, Monster Hunter is a co-op action game with arcadey aspects and some RPG elements. First and foremost. Like, that is the intended Monster Hunter experience. It is a co-op game made for multiplayer action experiences.
Monster 2 DOS has much more importance and much more weight to it compared to Monster Hunter titles that followed it.
I literally feel like a lot of the stuff he's saying is because he's playing the game wrong, which I feel bad about. Like, I cannot... I am going to be playing this soon, so maybe I'm just going to eat my fucking words. Like, maybe I'll just eat my words. But, like... I cannot believe that I'm going to have these issues with money in the seasons. I cannot believe it. He makes it sound so impactful. And I could not imagine a Monster Hunter game where it's that impactful.
Valuable hunter notes are only available here. The item box can only be reached here. It's the location of the
I wanted to watch it first.
Eat. It's also the only way to manually save the game without exiting. In Monster Hunter World, the player house is entirely optional. It's entirely aesthetic and cosmetic, and it's entirely inconsequential. Monster Hunter World can be completed without ever stepping foot inside your house.
Yes.
It's fun that you can customize it, though. Glad they added that.
It feels like it's so weird because like it feels like he values different things. Maybe like I think that's a big part of it. Like, seasons can't be skipped online. Well, that's an interesting aspect. Like that, like seasons online are something you have to consider. But he's focused on the single player experience. Like, you can tell this just wasn't played online at all. I'm playing it on an emulator, yeah. I got the nightly emulator. Hey kitty. I have the nightly emulator, and like I think Amy was telling me about it, but it's basically like Duck Station now. It's crazy. Yeah, I like I said, he values different things. Like he's like I value that I have to use the house in this game because the house has features that I'll only see if I'm forced to go in there. But that's not really true, right? Like you can go into the world house and enjoy it and customize it, and that's what it's designed to be in that game. It's designed to be a customizable player home, which a lot of people like. And if we're talking about the role-playing and immersive experience, being able to customize your home and change the music and change all these things about it and upgrade it, it's better in World. Like, that is a better thing in World than it is in DOS. You are not required to go into your home and try. So I feel like that's part of the argument he's trying to make. He's like, the things that you have to do in DOS, you never have to do again. And like, yeah, in Try, you never have to go in your home. You don't have to. Was the event in the series being able to set your endemic life? Yeah, that was crazy. That was awesome. It has a shitload of customization options as well. Exactly. That's cool. A lot of the things that are like role-playing and immersive, just because they become optional doesn't mean they're not role-playing and immersive, right? Like, things becoming optional and still being in the game and then becoming better in the process, you know?
Okay. Remember, this game came out in 2006, so if it looks weird, it's 2006.
Looks weird because you have the aspect ratio at 16:9, Jacob. I'm gonna get you for that, I swear to God.
Still with me?
I
I
thought
said-
we already did. I thought we were just talking about immersion. What was the first part? Hunting simulation. Okay. All right, I'm done. We'll watch the next part on Monday, I think. Yeah, they're all unopened. I've read all of Berserk. Why would I open them? I've read it. Lou Memories. Is your hand tattoo new? I believe I haven't seen it before. I got this. I had it at the old place. When did I get the hand tattoo? That's what I'm thinking. 2 more streams. No, I read them online back before, like, I've been caught up since before those came out, so. Yeah, Gorymon's there. I got a new tattoo, though. I got a frog wizard. That's new. That's like, I just got, it's still healing. Ugh. Goemon is goated. I have the poster too up there. See? Pretty cool. Anyway, no hate to Jacob. I think Jacob's a cool dude. And like I'd love to hear his opinions on like what changed since this video came out. But there's a lot of stuff that again, I don't think it's malicious, but it does end up becoming frustrating because you're like, you either can't agree with it or you like really see like a flaw in it, you know? So But I mean, you got to give it out to someone that can make a 3.5-hour video essay, because I have done that and it's hard. So it takes a lot of honestly, like as a defense, it takes a lot of time, and because it's so long, especially if you don't have a proofreader or someone to like kind of like contest your points and stuff, to be like, this doesn't fit your thesis and stuff like that, you can often say things that don't fit your thesis, and you can often make big mistakes that you don't immediately realize. It's you have to have someone like I usually have Janky proofread my stuff, and even then there's still mistakes in my videos. It's hard. Yeah, exactly. So like I'm not trying to roast him or anything, because like I get it. I've been there. In fact, I think he had this out before I even made my first huge essay. So like before I made the New Vegas video. So in fact, like I still love my New Vegas video, but like if you go and watch it, I'm sure there's just like some things that don't make fucking sense. Exactly. So like no negative feelings or anything like that. I'm still like, I'm like treating him in this video as like a past version of himself, and it's like making me so mad. But no, he's a cool dude. Hopefully we can finish this video and then we can play Dose. It'll be fun. The patch is out tomorrow. If you guys want to play Dose, you can play it tomorrow with English. I appreciate that, Blazing. Yeah, Jacob also makes like, yeah, if you haven't checked Jacob's channel out, I think he has 2 channels now. I think one's Monster Hunter dedicated, but he does like these Lego builds and stuff. I've seen them on Twitter. They're really cool. They're like very elaborate, like custom builds of Monster Hunter creatures using Lego. It's super crazy. I don't know how he does that. Check those out. and apparently he has a For You video now you can watch. So I recommend checking out the For You video, because I am positive that making this has refined his skill set. So I'm sure that video is better and worth a watch. So check that out. He's been streaming lately on YouTube. Cool. Hell yeah. The older channel was his Pikmin channel. Okay. All right. I'm out of here. If you haven't seen the new outro, it plays for about a minute and a half. Check that out. I will be back. I'll try to upload this soon, and I will be back on Monday. It's now Monday, Wednesday, Thursday is the stream days. So check that out. And I'll see you guys later. Peace out. Stop. Ah! Wait.